the like pro-Western people in Iran, they took it when this conversation happened and we're like, oh my God, that means he issued a fatwa against nukes, so we can't have nukes now. And then they made it into this like big political litmus test red line thing that could not be crossed. Okay. They turned it into a red line. Nazar, thank you for the super chat. Why is Trump saying that the Iranians are ready to surrender? Because he's stupid. He's retarded. Marvin, thank you for the super chat. Great job. Thank you. Deep Green, thank you. Iran is doing a massive damage, and I don't think they've begun deploying their new weapons yet. True. A lot of these are short-range, outdated missiles, decades old, that they weren't even able to use during the 12-day war because they couldn't strike Tel Aviv with those missiles. Hazy, thank you for joining as a member. Imran, thank you for joining as a member. Maria, thank you for joining as a member. Red Brick, thank you. Standerly, thank you. Oh, we already reacted to those. Thank you so much. You guys, thank you so much for all the super chats. You keep us going here. You are so generous. Thank you. Rubel, thank you for the super chat. James, thank you for joining as a member. Mumtaz, thank you. Cabal always wins. Not this time. Not this time. Did the Cabal win in Vietnam? All right, let's talk about this, folks. So, this is actually probably one of the craziest stories that I have for you today. The ballistic missiles being launched at the USS Abraham Lincoln was actually pretty insane, but, you know, it's kind of a nothing burger because nothing happened, right? But this is actually a pretty crazy story. So, as I've been telling all of you, one of the biggest factors in this war are the Iraqi paramilitary groups. Okay, there are many of them. They, for the most part, work in close coordination with one another, and they all support Iran for the most part. Okay. Now, we saw in the, I guess, afternoon hours in Iran today, we saw that Iraqi resistance, sorry, this was yesterday, Iraqi resistance formations, Kataib Hezbollah, Harakat al-Nujaba, Kataib.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Jackson Hinkle. He's been doing a really good job with the breakdown of actually what's happening behind the scenes. Jackson and I, we see things similar. We're both from Los Angeles. We both have evacuated. We've been in different directions. He's not necessarily a Trump fan, but I'm still a supporter of Trump. I just hate that he's so easily manipulated and influenced by the Zionists. I'm still wearing a MAGA hat, because MAGA is not make Trump great again. It's about making America great again. These strikes in Iran against them, putting Iran on the defense, now they are the victim. They are literally lashing out. The fact that a country of this size, the United States, has never seen this before, and Trump's admitted it. We've never seen a country that has attacked more than 2 people at once. They've already successfully attacked 10, 11 other countries. They are literally raining on American bases around the Middle East, even as far out as Jordan. They're not telling us how many are dead. They are hitting direct hits on American military bases that have personnel that live there. No one's telling you the official casualty count. The same way they don't tell you how many American troops have died fighting in the Ukraine, wearing Ukrainian uniforms, but they're mercenaries from the United States military. They don't tell you those true numbers. They're not telling us now how many people have died. Trump has already attempted a ceasefire. Iran turned it down. They don't want peace. How can you have peace? They tried peace in June of last year, and what did that do? It bought the Israelis and the Americans time to restock their missiles to try again. They gave them time to regroup and come back. This was a fail for Iran. And now look, they lost the Ayatollah. They've lost some of their key military personnel. When I think of freedom and I think of being an American and our U.S. military, I think of self-determination, but I also think of self-defense. But that goes both ways. I believe another nation also has sovereignty and the right to defend itself. We are far, far away from Iran. Iran is not on our southern border or our northern border. They're not threatening to invade us. Every country has a right to have weapons, even nukes, to deter others like Israel from attacking them unilaterally or with American assistance. Everybody has the right to life and to live their own way. So fucking what? We don't like how they live in Iran. It's not our business. It's their own way of life. If you live in Iran and you don't agree with their government, you don't agree with Sharia law, you don't agree with their laws against women or this, then fucking leave the country, move to another country, repatriate yourself. You don't go in there and decide to kill off their leadership. The Ayatollah was a hero to millions around the world, both Sunni and Shiite. He literally protected children. What's one of the best things you can do to protect children from the Epstein types or from the people here in the West? The best thing you can do is the one thing that they've dismantled here, and that is make sure that kids have families. In countries like Iran, you're not allowed to just divorce. You're not allowed to just go after men for child support, break up families, adultery, stripping, doing OnlyFans, prostitution, all these different things that have destroyed Western society because the minds of our women have been turned to mush. The reason we have passports, we have to find wives abroad now. We can't even marry American women. You can't even have American children. Our entire society is collapsing over here. The only thing that props it up is, well, highlights on the internet to make it look like everything is so fine and dandy. Countries like Iran protect families, which in turn protect children. We don't like some of their ways. We don't believe in what they believe in. There are certain cultural differences. We don't have to. Guess why? Because we don't have to live there. They don't want to come live here. If you live in Iran and you want to come live in America so bad because you want to be gay so bad, you want to come stripping off, you want to be Mia Khalifa, leave the country, move to the United States. Don't attempt to overthrow the government in Iran and turn Iran into the United States. Let every country keep its identity. Everybody does not need to be a copy cutout of the United States. It's not going to work in Iran. It's not going to work in Russia. It's not going to work in China. It's going to fail. A lot of these smaller, weaker vassals of the United States, it didn't really work there. They are literally trying to hold on to everything. Our society is falling apart here. Trump has a wife and kids. No, who else does? Barely anybody. You can't. The women are destroyed. So what Iran's going to have to do, if they're smart, because see, right now, this is the problem. Iran, the spies who they put, the spies who the United States has been paying, they're now trying to take control. The Iranian generals who survived are going to say, wait a minute, you're trying to become the next leader of Iran. You're the one who's been working with the Americans. They're going to find those spies and they're going to execute them. But until then, the United States can't keep attacking Iran because you might accidentally kill the spies that you've planted in the country. So it's a catch-22. You really, the Americans we're kind of stuck. We can't keep bombing them because we might bomb out and we might end up killing the people that we're trying to put in place for the regime change. The Iranians are going to prevail. And what they're going to do is this. They're going to watch all these videos on social media. All these gay women in Iran who want to be lesbians. They want to be gay. They want to have pride parades. They're burning pictures of the Ayatollah because they think the Americans are going to come in there, boots on the ground, occupy their cities, and allow them to open up their first OnlyFans pages in the next 2 months. They are wrong. We don't have ground forces. We have black and gay soldiers that are not good for shit. We only have air superiority. We are not going to be able to put boots on the ground. We don't even have soldiers like that anymore. We have kids that have signed up who hate the country, but they want to check. They're not there to fight and defend the country. The Patriots already left the military over the vaccine ban, and they haven't returned because they no longer trust the government. We have a resurgence slightly of recruitment since Pete Hegseth's, but that's a year. We don't even have the soldiers to do that. And you think those pussy-ass IDF soldiers are going to dare try to walk into Iran and occupy Tehran? It's not happening. Iran is going to find all those women who are trying to help overthrow their government so that they can have their gay pride revolution and do their pride parades because these women are feeling emboldened. They're coming out on the internet announcing who they are. Iran, if they're smart, they're going to find all these women and they're going to delete them all one by one. If they're going to want to keep their sovereignty and maintain stability, they have no choice. They did it with the protesters, which is why they haven't already been able to overthrow their government, even though the Ayatollah fell. Now we're going back to the strikes. They have been hitting bases everywhere. Matter of fact, there is a base that just got hit in Iraq. What that means is that No one. See, it's nighttime there right now. Our bases in Iraq are being leveled. We don't have the air defense capability that we thought we did because we never anticipated anybody ever attacking us. We are the bully. We are the great evil. We are the big bad players in the region. Everyone's afraid. We never needed to defend ourselves. We've always been the aggressors until now. See, now we're dealing with Iran, Russia, China. It's a different ball game. This isn't Iraq. This isn't a militia. This isn't Afghanistan. This isn't some billionaire named Gaddafi in Libya. These are actual militaries with soldiers who are trained to fight, who have children and wives that they want to protect their way of life. See, those women that are in Iran that are dancing around the streets, the ones dancing in New York, the ones that are dancing with the Zionists and on the middle of the road, and they're all women who want to be gay. They want sexual liberty. They feel that having children and being married and having families is slavery. They want out. They don't want to participate in humanity anymore. I don't think that that is a win for anybody, especially not that society. Those women are going to have to be booted out of the country, kind of like the Bay of Pigs style, where if you don't like it here, leave here, go somewhere else, go to the United States and go live go be gay in the U.S., or they're going to have to be deleted. Hundreds of American soldiers or hundreds of American casualties are going to be from these attacks. These are not empty. Why would you think an American military base would be empty? They cost millions per day to operate. They're not empty. You just don't know who's there. You're not supposed to. They don't care who's there. They're indiscriminately bombing certain targets that have been outlined from Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, all over the entire region. And guess what? Tomorrow, the UAE, Saudi Arabia is announcing they're going to join the fight. They got some big old beautiful targets in Dubai, like the Burj Khalifa, the Palms, and they have a lot of foreigners. You think Iran will have zero? If the UAE gets involved, Dubai does not have the capability to protect itself. I remember when the Houthis, attacked an oil field in Saudi Arabia, one attack that went through, gas prices rose 5% worldwide. These countries are a lot more fragile than they think. Yes, they have a lot of money. Money doesn't, just like in America, money doesn't make you tough. Money doesn't mean you can fight. You can be rich as fuck and get your ass beat. And that's what's happening right now. These countries decided to go against Islam, to go against their own God in an attempt to join the West. These countries, their populations are not gay. The West is gay. The West pushes pride parades and drag queen story hours for children. Everything about the West, for the most part, is about pushing homosexuality onto children. And now the women in these other countries see that as liberation. We are in different directions. The Islamic world is still a patriarchy. They are not going to fall in line with the whole gay agenda. And that's what the fight is all about. The Russians even said the war is going to be between countries that allow pride parades versus countries that restrict them. And that's what we're seeing happen right now. Dubai want to get involved. Dubai is going to have problems. They're going to have their buildings that they constructed. There's no air defenses, and they were not planning on ever being struck by missiles. They're biting off more than they can chew. And Iran does not want to hear this whole peace situation. They have the Russians. The Russians have Wagner. They have Oreshnik. They don't need peace. You've already attacked you killed the Ayatollah. That's the equivalent of killing the Pope. I want to get back to what Jackson was talking about because he has some really good takes right now.
Saeed al-Shahada, Saeed al-Haq are now entering the battlefield, moving in lockstep with the regional escalation and targeting American positions across Iraq. I don't remember. I think it was Kataib Hezbollah, but it also may have been Nujaba. But like a few weeks before the war started, I did a video about all of these Iraqi militant groups, what they were saying, what they were threatening. And either Kataib Hezbollah or Nujaba put out a video where they showcased in one of their underground missile facilities that they have the Fatah 1. They have the hypersonic Fatah 1. So that is a huge development that they have missiles of that capability. So that was yesterday. Today, the Islamic resistance in Iraq came out and said, in the name of God Almighty, since today, Sunday morning, we have carried out 23 operations targeting enemy bases in Iraq and the region with dozens of suicide drones. Okay. So after that, there was a lot that took place. This is what they're referring to in the morning hours. Iranian strikes U.S. base at Erbil International Airport in Iraqi Kurdistan. So some people were reporting it as Iranian. I'm sure there were some Iranian strikes, but honestly, a lot of this was being done by the Iraqi militia groups. Warehouse hit on the U.S. base at Erbil Airport, confirmed by Sentinel-2. So they were hitting warehouses at the U.S. airbase in Iraqi Kurdistan, Erbil. Then we saw Saraya Alawiya Al-Dam in Iraq said, we attacked the American bases in Erbil with a swarm of drones. Now, this is where things get crazy, you guys. This is where things get crazy. This is where I quite honestly, in no way, shape, or form, would not bet on it in any way that I believe the story that there's only 8 casualties of U.S. troops. I do not believe that there's 8 casualties of U.S. troops because this took place 4 hours ago. This is the U.S. base in Erbil in Iraq as a result of Iraqi resistance strikes in Iraqi Kurdistan. That is a real image out of Iraqi Kurdistan at the U.S. base. Okay. That is not a good look for the U.S. That looks like Trump is actually kind of like getting raped. That is not a good look. That is not what winning looks like. That is not what a 2-day in and out operation looks like. That looks like a massive, probably missile warehouse was hit and is burning because these Iraqi resistance groups, as far as I know, they are doing drone strikes right now. I've seen no reports of the Iraqi resistance groups using like big missiles or anything like that, like the Fatah one I mentioned. So what probably happened is there was a drone strike, which these drones are very large, but there was a drone strike on what was probably a very big missile warehouse silo. And now it is all up in flames. So here, I think, is where you can see the video of it when it began. No, this was an Iranian strike on Erbil. So that was before. 4 ballistic missiles and drones. That was an Iranian strike. This is where we see it. There you go. So that was one of the strikes that took place. That was an air defense system, actually. So that was an air defense system going up. Not the big plume that you saw in the other video, but I mean, still a big plume, still a big explosion. That's an air defense system. You can see all the 80 missiles firing off there as it tries to grapple the fact that it was just taken out with a massive drone power, probably by Kataib Hezbollah or Nujaba.
It is nighttime in the Middle East right now, and the attacks from Iran have continued, yet Trump and our side in the United States and Israel have both sent messages through the Jordanian government requesting a ceasefire. They're hoping to have time to regroup. Iran said no. Israel is already running low on ammunition. The United States has actually been seen delivering munitions to Israel because they are running out. Their Iron Dome costs billions of American taxpayers to operate. The reason we don't have discounted healthcare, the reason we have inflation, the reason we have a lot of expenses and things that we can't afford is because we're too busy spending money defending countries like Israel, and no one can even give us a clear reason why. Billions of dollars is being destroyed in the air. We just lost 2 $35 million drones that were shot down by Iran, and they are able to use cheaply made missiles that are being restocked by China and Russia to rain hell on military bases all over the Middle East, and we have no response. Again, We don't have boots on the ground anymore. The last time we seen boots on the ground was in Afghanistan. Before that, it was Desert Storm, and it was when Operation whatever the fuck, when George Bush sent them into Iraq. Those were different times. The military was made up of white males, white American men who were patriots. DEI and the COVID vaccine have literally purged our military from patriots and conservatives. It's now made up of gays and blacks who are communists and Marxists who are only in our ranks to earn a check. We have air superiority. We have a naval fleet. As far as ground troops, we don't have it. We don't have it. And the troops that we do have are not worth shit. Go look at the videos on Twitter of what what our ranks look like in the American military right now. We don't have any ability to be an occupying force in Tehran or in Iran. The IDF, they're weak little gay, diverse women troops that are doing these sexy little dances on the internet. They are also not going into Iran on foot. They had a hard enough time going into Gaza on foot. That's why they have to bomb those people into the Stone Age from the air. It's not a lot of ground forces. They were getting their asses handed to them, and they don't want to deal with a very advanced military like the one in Iran. I'm an America First person. That's why I wear a Make America Great Again hat. Make America Great Again is not make Israel great again. Fuck Israel. That's not our concern. So my concern is trying to find ways for us to get out of this conflict and leave Israel to their own devices. I am against this. Though we are Trump supporters, Trump promised us no new wars. Trump did not run on a campaign where no new wars until Netanyahu tells us we need to attack Iran multiple times. It's so unfortunate because Trump is typically a pretty clever, smart man. He hasn't even given us a reason for why this was necessary. I'm still waiting for it. I saw Asmongold was just saying that, well, no, there's reasons. Still, no reason given. They're not a direct threat to our borders. They are not sending missiles at us or our targets. We preemptively struck them first, just like we did back in June of last year. There are consequences now. It's the middle of the night. We can't air evac out all the American troops. We can't run. So now they're just waiting to become targets. The good thing is it seems like the American military is trying to purge out the worst of the worst. I'm noticing a lot of people are talking about they're being deployed, but they're all it's a lot of gay black women who are in the military that are now being deployed to the front lines. I'm noticing when I get on TikTok, I get on Twitter, it's all these different gay black kids, and they're boys and girls, but they're all gay. They're all gay blacks. And so, which they're Marxists and they're communists, supported Kamala, and they're sending them there. It's kind of like they want them deleted. They're sending them into harm's way on purpose. That ideology of Marxism and communism, just like in Cuba, it has to die out with the people. It's not you can't vote your way out of it. And those people's minds are not going to change. Everything happens for a reason. There's no way for us to contain this. The Islamic world is bigger than the US and Israel, even if we're combined. The world of Islam. And now these countries are realizing if America wins, they're going to bring homosexuality and feminism. Our society is going to fall like the American society. If you introduce feminism and homosexuality to these Islamic societies, there will be no more marriages. There will be no more children. These societies will crumble the same way they're crumbling in the West. Why do you think Europe has to import people from the third world? Why do you think why do you think Europe has to import people from Africa and from the Middle East? Because in their society already in the West, they don't have kids. Everyone's gay. You can't have a society if there's no people. You can't have an economy if there's no people paying into it. So these countries are understanding this is an existential threat. We can't. And now they're all being attacked because they've been letting the Americans launch assaults on Iraq from bases in their country. These countries wanted to stay neutral. They didn't want to be involved, but you're a party to this. The same way the Russians said this during the Ukraine battle, Putin said Poland, Hungary, any of these NATO countries around the Ukraine, if we find out any of the attacks that are happening in Russia, if planes are flying out from any of those airfields in these neighboring countries, That means these countries are akin to war, and we will strike them as well. So guess what those countries did? Because they were smart. They did not allow NATO and the United States to launch attacks against Russia from those bases. Unfortunately, these other bases, like in Jordan, Qatar, Kuwait, not so lucky. The Americans launched on Iran from there, and now they're paying a heavy price. They're going to have to end their relationships with the United States just to stay neutral and keep the peace. Also, it's not everyone doesn't want to be like the United States. Everyone does not want to be gay. Everyone does not want to have drag queen story hours for children. Everyone doesn't want to push grooming and homosexuality, and Gavin Newsom's Senate Bill SB 145 that decriminalizes sodomy for pedophiles. Everyone doesn't want to live like Epstein. Epstein is protected in places like California because of Newsom. That is the West. Everyone's pretending to be so surprised when they literally have laws on the books protecting pedophiles. Other parts of the world don't want to live like us. We don't even want to live like us. We're trying to end gay marriage. We're trying to push back and remove those disgusting and evil aspects of our society from our culture. We are trying to take our countries back from the gay, homosexual, LGBT movement. That's when we say we have to take our country back. It's not from black people per se and black culture, which we have to take it back from that. It's also from this gay culture. We have to save our country from them. No one else is, these people are already here. We don't have to worry about an invading army. There's literally gay people right now that are corrupting and perverting our children, grooming them, turning them against our families. We're losing our families. Feminism took our wives. The gay culture took your kids. As a man, we have to now go to other countries abroad, and we're afraid to bring women to this country that we marry because they might be too influenced by American women and it would contaminate them. We're trying to save our American culture. You know, and when it comes to women, you got to save them from themselves. Look at who's celebrating the death of the Ayatollah. You don't see any Iranian man out there burning his picture and wanting to take off their clothes and strip. No. It's the women. It's the women. So we're watching this. I think the Islamic world is going to reject this, and they're going to want to stay neutral, and they're going to want to pull out of this. We're not projecting strength right now because, well, even with all those people dead in Iran, they're still a force to be reckoned with. We're not in a position of strength. And the fact that we're asking for a ceasefire is a bad sign. But anyway, hundreds of American casualties. No one's reporting on it. This is the middle of the night. They're lying to you about the numbers. We're going to keep reporting on it. We want to make America great again, but the only way we can do that is by focusing on America first and America only, which is why I say that all the time.
Okay. Also in Iraq, we witnessed something pretty incredible today. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, it was not fully overrun, but it was damn close. Thousands were flooding inside the barricades. They were grabbing heavy gear.
Who's this in the chat? Emmett? Emmett, are you black? Because the blacks are gay. All of them. Go turn on your fucking TV. Go look at the Golden Globes. Go look at the rappers. The black culture is gay culture. It's one and the same. We have to save American culture from the gay black culture takeover. Because that leads to depopulation. Remember, blacks don't have families. Gays don't have kids. We lose our society because we don't have strong families anymore. That's why America is losing. That's why we're lost. We're at a population collapse, which is why they opened the borders. You're not understanding what's happening because you're too busy worried about being a black. I'm outside of that prism. The answer to your question is no. How can you be a color as a human? You don't even have human rights as a color. You don't have no ethnicity. You have no nationality. You have no religion. You have no country of origin. You're just confused. And no, I'm not confused. I have an identity. Let's see here. Black numbers have dropped because of due also not just to homosexuality and genocide, but also to the vaccine. They are hovering around 8% now from 13. Millions of blacks have already died from the vaccine. They're missing from the voter rolls. They didn't all turn conservative. They have passed away. I lost 17 friends of mine back in Los Angeles last month alone. 6 of them died in the gym at the 24-hour fitness on Slauson. So the population is disintegrating. There have been things that have been put in place to help mitigate the damage from the culture. And we are doing things that we're doing what must be done to save our country and make America great again. Removing those two demographics are the only things that we can do to save our country. We're going to have to remove both of those cultures. Those cultures are now being amplified in these other countries, and that's why these countries are being taken down. And I think these other countries are going to reject those cultures. Yes, the women are celebrating, but those women are going to pay a hefty price because the Americans are not going to come in and save them. These women jumped the gun. They're actually showing their face. They're burning pictures of the Ayatollah. They're stripping down. They want to be gay. They want to be prostitutes. They don't want to be mothers or wives. They're announcing that publicly. I do believe whoever is going to wind up being in control of Iran, they're going to find all of those people, just like they did the protesters from a couple of weeks ago. When you look at the pictures of the protesters from a couple of weeks ago, they were young Iranian kids. They all had something in common. They had rainbow flags on their signs. They were all gay kids. These are people in these Islamic countries that they want to be gay very, very bad. But that's anti-human because you don't reproduce. And if you are living by the book, if you're a secular, if you believe in religion, then you are going against God, the fact that you don't want to be fruitful and multiply. You don't want to have a family. You don't want to be a mother or father. You don't want to get married. You're going against God. You're going against humanity. And that's not allowed. These people, if they were smart, they would have just applied for visas and took their homosexuality and applied to move in Canada as asylum seekers or the United States, where they can be as gay as they want to. They'll never have to have kids. They can get on welfare. They can kill themselves, whatever they want to do. However, in these other countries, they want to maintain stability in their societies, which is why it's not promoted. And now you see the United States has bombed these countries, but they didn't invade. So these people have jumped the gun thinking the Americans are going to come save them. No, they're not. You think a bunch of gay black kids who work in the military in the United States are going to bring weapons and storm your country and do some fighting and risk their lives? You think the kids in our military right now are patriots? You're going to be in for a rude awakening. We don't have an army anymore. We have air superiority and we have a decent Navy. But when compared to the Chinese Navy or the Russians, let's just say we shouldn't pick any fights because it's not a guarantee we're going to be on top. See, they've seen us fight before. They know our capabilities. We don't know theirs. And we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. We need to focus on our own hemisphere. We have no business in the Middle East. We have to focus on the United States. Trump has to get back on the agenda. It's America first and America only. And we are going to pay a heavy price. We've already lost hundreds of Americans, and we're going to lose more. We have to get out of this as soon as possible, even if it is a strategic defeat on behalf of the United States. We have to get out of this. But they're attacking our bases, and they don't want to do a ceasefire. So I'm not sure what's next. We cannot invade them. And you can't occupy a city from the skies. You have to have boots on the ground. We don't have the boots. And you think Israel's going to send the IDF? You're out of your fucking mind. We don't have the capability to roll tanks into a mountainous region like Iran, or we would have done it. We don't have what it takes. We should not be in this. Let's get back to Jackson. I want you guys to keep hearing about the losses and the damage that's happening right now. Me and him are discussing the same topic, which is why I wanted to bring him on my stream so you guys can hear this, because we're basically saying the same data and it'd be rather redundant. No one else wants to talk about what's happening because everyone wants to show that we're supporting our country. But the best way we can support American people and American soldiers is with truth and transparency, which is why we're going to show both sides of the coin. You want to hear the propaganda? Turn on Fox. Turn on CNN. You want to hear what's actually happening on the ground with actual reporters in these countries, amateur reporters that are reporting in these other nations, and we're translating them in real time. Tune in to people like myself, Jackson Hinkle. Follow the channel, subscribe to the channel. It's America first, and it's America only.
Looks like they had some Caterpillar construction vehicles that they were able to get through the security checkpoint. And yeah, so there you go. They've got some sort of like a bulldozer that they brought in. They've got explosives. I'll turn the volume down. You can listen to exactly what is going on here, but they are storming the entryway to the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Again, they did not enter the U.S. Embassy fully. Front loader, bro. I don't know what these things are called. What does a front loader do? Tell me. What does a front loader? Educate me. Does a front loader? Is it front, bro? Do I look like I grew up in Orange County, California? Do I look like I grew up on a farm or something? What does that do? Does that like help? Does that help like can that like knock down a barricade or something? If you guys are just telling me that just to fact check me, just to be anal, and it moves stuff. Thank you so much for the clarification that the giant construction vehicle moves stuff. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, you guys. Thank you. Really appreciate it. You're the best. Thank you for interrupting. Thank you for interrupting the broadcast to provide the minor correction about the John Deere. What is it called? The front loader? And it moves stuff. Appreciate it. Amazing. Oh, I have no idea what this stuff's called. Okay, so then later in the night, I got to turn the volume down. I think these videos are like super loud. Later in the night, we had even more chaos in Baghdad as clashes erupted between local police and protesters attempting to storm the green zone where the U.S. embassy is located.
If you guys don't understand what's happening, they're using, I just did a video about Pakistani men in Karachi storming the U.S. embassy, and many of them were killed. 9-10 of them were killed, but they're dressed like Aladdin. I saw one pistol. They're with open-toe sandals and sticks. Other men in the Islamic world are saying, okay, we need other strategies. We need to be able to crush their barricades and break their defenses down without being killed. We're going to use farming and construction equipment to break into these facilities. American troops inside these facilities only have so much ammo. If they are overrun by people, there won't be much they can do. We're looking at another potential Benghazi in Iraq. You guys remember what happened in Benghazi? There's no evacuation that's going to be happening because Iran has essentially closed the airspace of the Muslim world. Therefore, there won't be any helicopters or any planes landing or taking off anytime soon. All the airports are closed from Abu Dhabi through Kuwait. These are countries that are fully functioning economies. They have air transportation just like we do here in the United States. The entire airspace has been closed down because of Iran. So what are you going to do? You're not able to get people out of there. They're using construction equipment now to breach barricades. It's in the dead of night. There's only so much ammo you have. There's only so many people you can kill before you run out of ammunition, and eventually they can get to you. And the night is young. So this, again, was it worth it? So that we can bring OnlyFans to the women, the gay women of Iran. They want OnlyFans. They want pride parades. Not the men per se. It's mainly the women. Was it worth it? Hundreds of American lives just for an attempt to bring OnlyFans and homosexuality to Iran where it's not going to be a crime anymore. Was it worth it? The lives that are lost. And it's still not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the answer is no, it wasn't worth it. But they tried. They tried. This is another strategic defeat for us because we don't have the troops to occupy Iran. It's a country of over 100 million people. We have how many military? What was 700,000? And if 70% of them are gay and black, then you don't really have a military. We don't have military troops for the ground. We have service members that look good on the rolls, but as far as capability, we removed all of our training standards. There's no more boot camp. There's no more Hell Week. All of the standards we used to have for our military, you guys don't understand. With DEI, that means that if you didn't want to run, if you didn't want to train, they couldn't kick you out of the military because it would be considered racist. Remember, they had men dressed in fucking uniform, pretending to be women, running our military until about 13 months ago. Do you know what this means? We don't have a fucking army anymore. So we're not going to be expected to prevail anywhere that's going to require a ground force to occupy. And even when that happens, you got to worry about guerrilla tactics. We went through 20 years of IEDs and suicide bombers in Iraq. in Afghanistan. You wanted to do that again in Iran, you're a fucking idiot. Just so that because people in Iran want to be gay? No, leave the country. Go be gay somewhere else. You cannot do it there. That country has its own way of life. It should be able to maintain its identity. We should not try to turn everywhere into America. That is fucking ridiculous. And now look, there's consequences, and these soldiers are paying for them. The soldiers that are overseas right now is different than the ones that are in the US that are being shipped out. Two different types of people. The ones that are overseas have been there for years. The ones that I'm talking about, they're relatively new. Ever since the lockdown, ever since the vaccine mandates, the whole makeup of our military has changed. Our capability is not what we thought it was. Things have changed in the last 4 to 5 years. So listen, look at what's happening at our bases in the middle of the night. And when the smoke clears tomorrow, what do you think they're going to say? And it's not going to stop tomorrow. And these people want their country back. They're going all for nothing. They've already seen everyone in these countries, everyone in Iraq has had a relative or someone close to them die at the hands of the American military. This is their one time to shine. This is their one time to glow. It's either now or never. And everyone feels like that in the Islamic world. And after you just killed the equivalent of the Pope, what do you expect people to do? Sit on their hands and just wait to be next? No. When you're a weak society, when you're not a serious society, that's what you do. But when you're a patriarchy, when you're a society of men that have wives and children that you have to protect, you cannot wait to be next. And they're not waiting. We wouldn't wait as Americans. I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't wait for them to flip a coin and decide which one of us are going to die next when they feel like it. When Netanyahu says, hey, you know what? Now's their time. Go take them out. We see what they did in Gaza. The world saw what happened in Gaza. Thanks to Elon Musk, we have X, we have transparency. It was televised. And now we're looking at the reaction. They all understand the assignment. They're never going to have a chance again like this right now. Iran is doing the heavy lifting. Now everybody else has to do their part. Whatever little they can. Iran put themselves out there in the forefront with no fear. The rest of the Islamic world is not going to back down. They can't. If they lose, feminism and homosexuality takes over their countries too. Then we lose the world. We won't have nothing left but China and Russia. China and Russia are only two non-gay countries left in the world. The rest of the world is pushing pride parades. Iran, China, and Russia, the only last countries that don't have pride parades. Fact check me on that.
Well, I hope this guy's not saying anything bad. To be honest, I have no idea what he's saying. Translators. If we've got John Deere tractor front loader specialists in the chat, we definitely got to have someone that speaks.
Israel wasn't defending itself. Israel is the aggressor. Israel is the evil. Israel is the monster. Israel is the problem that we have in the United States. Who pushes the gay agenda here? For a matter of fact, who was pushing the gay agenda in the Reich? In the 30s in Germany, who was pushing it? Who wrote the books that were burned in the Reich? It was the Zionists of those times. Magnus Hirschfeld, where was he from? What's his religious background? Those were the books that were burned. Those were the people that were put in the camps. And what were they doing? Targeting and perverting children with their homosexuality. They were promoting transgenderism in the 30s and 20s until it was stopped. This right now, what you're watching with Iran and these attacks and this war is us basically doing the same thing that happened in the 30s and 40s. We're doing it 100 years later because we did not stop them back then. And now look, now we're in a world war. We could have stopped it back then, but we let it fester and grow to the point where they even got their own country. And their country is powerful with nukes pushing. Now you have a nuke behind a pride flag. That's how out of control we let things get. And this is us. This is a symptom of humanity rejecting the anti-human, anti-family, depopulation agenda of pushing homosexuality on the world. This is why the Zionists are falling. This is why the globalists have taken over. Remember, it's the globalists that are in control of the Islamic world. And the Zionists are in control of the West. And you see the globalists and the Zionists are having a proxy war, and we're the ones in the middle. The Zionists are on the rope. They're the ropes. They are losing. And this is why they are so desperate. This is why they've been assassinating people. This is why they killed Kirk. This is why they killed the Ayatollah. This is why they're desperate. And they have every right to be, because they're on the ropes. But just look at what no one else is going to be reporting on these bases being attacked in the middle of the night. I've been going through all of the media. No one's talking about what I'm talking about, what Hinkle's talking about. No one wants to be straight up with you. Everyone's too worried about reading the comments and looking at a bunch of gays upset because you're not kissing their ass, or you're not telling black people, oh, you guys are such victims, or, oh yeah, you should be able to have sex with kids because they're restricting you. They're taking away your right to have sex with kids. Because we're not saying that, they're attacking you and they're mad in the comments. Let them be mad. How about this? Put on a cape and be super mad. Just like these people want the rest of the United States to be California. You know, in California, they passed laws to protect Epstein. Yes, Senate, go look it up on your phone if you get a chance. Senate Bill 145, SB 145. Look it up. You guys are so obsessed with Epstein, but California actually passed laws to protect Epstein on the books. So when they try to fake virtual signal and fake outrage about, they don't give a fuck about kids and Epstein. They pass laws to protect pedophiles who literally sodomize and rape kids. They passed laws. Even Epstein wasn't powerful enough to change the laws. They changed the laws in California. And they want the rest of the United States to be like California. Why do you think they're trying to get Newsom to be the president? So they want the rest of the world to be gay and lose families the way the United States is right now. We have no wives. And our kids have no brothers and sisters, because the one kid we have with the woman was an accident. We don't even like her enough to give her 2 kids, let alone 3. We would never marry her. There are no families here. Iran, the women are still wives with kids and they still have families. But we want the rest of the world to be gay like the United States, the way California wants the rest of the country to be gay like them. That's who we're really fighting. And I try to bring things and put it in perspective for you. I can literally explain it clear as day, so that you, once you get offline, you watch my videos, you subscribe to my channel, you like what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. We both speak English, right? Now, I speak 4 languages. I can speak to you about this and I can translate for you, but a lot of us speak English. I'm in America. I'm wearing a MAGA hat. So let's speak in English. I can clearly articulate and explain to you my stance and where it comes from. Because when you get offline and you go back into the world you live in, you're going to have to be able to explain to people what's going on, why things are happening, how we got here, and where we go from here. But you can't feel like you're alone. There was a time where I thought I was crazy. I'm like, am I the only one noticing all this? And the people around me weren't noticing. It wasn't until I got on the internet that I found out that I'm not going insane. I remember when the lockdown first started and I was the only person not wearing a mask. And I was like, what is wrong with you idiots? Are you trying to block the air? Like the air comes in from the side too. Like, what are you doing? It wasn't until I got to the internet that I found communities of other people that were fighting just like me. But for a while, I thought I was losing my mind. It's not that. It's just that 98% of people are going to follow 2% of us. Everyone's not a leader. Some people care so much about what other people think that that's all their life is based around. And some of us are not. That's just how it goes. You know, you're born a certain way. That's it. So you're not losing your mind. You're not going insane. Your spider senses are tingling. So let me tell you why. Let me explain to you why what I'm saying to you is resonating with something that's in your heart. It's connecting because it's truth and it makes sense. So that's why I'm here. That's why we're going over this and we're mounting this fight together. And this is the kind of fight where we don't have to punch or shoot each other. It's just awareness. If people knew that this was what they were walking into, they might turn and about face and go the other direction. I did. When I realized where this was all leading, I decided to go another direction. And now I'm doing the same, where I can spread and speak to other people who are like-minded, who are trying to find out what's going on and make a better decision for tomorrow. Remember, the people that are trying to control all this, they don't have kids. They have zero investment in tomorrow. But for the rest of us who have families and want to have kids and who are having kids, we live in a completely different world than these gays that are literally trying to tell us what to do. Could you imagine at one point in time, everything I thought I knew about the world, And my opinions of my president came from two gay men on CNN. One was named Don fucking Lemon, and the other one was Anderson Pooper. They were the ones who were the architects of what we thought we knew about the world. And they were lying to us the whole time. And then you find out their other proclivities, nothing like me. They live a completely different lifestyle, different world than I do. Why would I take advice from them on who to vote for and what to believe until I started listening to Trump for myself? So now I listen to everybody for myself. So that's why my compass is properly calibrated. I listen. You're listening. We're figuring this all out together as we go. First things first, we have to get out of this. This is not for us. You know what? If you feel like this is hate, Emmett, why are you here? You're here because there's a piece of you that knows that this is true and you're fighting it. You hate yourself. That's why you're here. But don't beat yourself up. And guess what? I'm not going to mute you. I'm not going to ban you. You're going to get this lesson and you're going to be my case study for the day. You're going to be the example. People are going to argue with you on my behalf. People are going to watch what you're saying, listen to you, and they're going to fact check you and think about it. And they're going to say, this is what he talks about. I actually need you to stay. I'm not going to get rid of you. And besides, you're in no position to insult me. You're in an inferior position. Therefore, you're not there. But I do appreciate you even still being here. I do need the interaction and we do need the example that can be made. Anyway, let's get back to what Mr. Hinkle is saying.
I just standard Arabic, right?
And I want to say thank you. I'm looking at the analytics. Thousands of people so far have been tuning in. We're on 8 different platforms right now. I appreciate you guys all for being here. Do me a favor, if you can, come over to YouTube, look up RICO LIMBAUGH, follow me, subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date. Turn on the bell. That way you can get updates on when I do videos. I try to do about 5 per day and I post them at different times. So if you can be there for the live, great. If you can only catch when I post it and the video airs, great too. We're building up our own media, our own little media source here. I do bring on guests. I'm building a studio at my property in Houston. So I'm going to be sitting around talking to people full time. And we talk about everything that's in the news, but obviously it's going to be from an America First right-wing perspective. I don't have any liberal views. I'm not on the fence about anything. I can't even say I'm neutral I'm not an ally of these other groups. I'm just not. And neither are you, because you have good senses about yourself. And you realize that even pretending to understand these other weird people and being an ally, it's gotten you nowhere. They're never going to be appreciative of you. They're never going to say thank you. You're still their enemy. These people want power. You want stability. We're going in different directions. Therefore, follow me, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned, and we're going to keep building this up. We're going to go through it together. If you guys want to be a guest, you can send me an email, the rightwingrico@gmail.com. Thank you all for being here. Let's get back to the show.
Looks like all these cars are like evacuating. They're all fleeing, by the way, which like, I don't really, oh wait, is that a bridge? That's is that the bridge thing? The suspended bridge or whatever? That's a bridge maybe? Because that wouldn't really make sense that cars would be leaving. I've never been to the green zone. I mean, I think I drove past it when I was in Baghdad, but like I didn't get this close to it. Yeah, that just looks like a bridge. But does that lead into like the green zone? Like, are people leaving it? That's not Arabic, it's Farsi. Oh, that's random. So they've got someone speaking Farsi in I mean, that is Baghdad, 100% confirmed. In fact, I actually know the person that runs this Telegram account. Funny guy. Anyways, we have so Thomas Keith, great Twitter account. You should all follow him if you want really good, up-to-date information about what's going on in this conflict. I was never here on Twitter. Highly recommend. He writes, clashes are intensifying near the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad as protesters push toward the suspension bridge and attempt to force their way into the green zone. Crowds have tried to breach the main gate leading to the embassy. prompting Iraqi security forces to deploy tear gas in an effort to push them back. Confrontations continue along the main road into the Green Zone, with more protesters arriving and the standoff growing more volatile. Okay. Now, here is probably one of the most surprising parts of the story. And this is the last part of the Iraq story. Then we're going to be getting into how Saudi Arabia and the UAE may be joining the war now, which is crazy. But Ayatollah Makrem Shirazi and Grand Ayatollah Nouri Hamadani, both Iranian clerics, they both declared jihad for the martyrdom of Ayatollah Khamenei. Okay, so two Iranian clerics, two of the the most important Iranian Ayatollahs declared jihad. And I mean, what can I say? I'm not surprised. Okay, I mean, they were very close with Ayatollah Khamenei. This is an existential war for the Iranian nation, for the Iranian civilization. But what?
It's not existential for us. We have no business attacking this country. And Trump can't even give us a solid reason. These countries have a right to have nukes. And I'll be honest with you, I think the whole story about nukes is fake. I don't even believe nuclear weapons exist. As far as I could tell, the bombs they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki was the same one they dropped on Dresden, Germany. And that was just a extensively large firebomb. They firebombed those cities, which is why they were able to be rebuilt within the next 3 years. It took 4 years to rebuild Hiroshima and Nagasaki and Dresden. There was no radioactive isotopes. There was no sterility amongst the people. It was just a badly bombed city with fire bombs. No nukes required. The whole notion of nukes is just a way to keep bigger countries from invading each other, and that's a deterrent to keep their populations from calling for them to be invaded by one another. If you're a large enough countries, you should be able to join that falsehood and claim that you have nukes so that the Israelis and the Americans are not doing what they did to Iran. If they thought Iran had nukes, or if Iran could declare they had nukes, they wouldn't do this the same way they didn't do it to North Korea. When Kim Jong-il started saying, hey, I have nukes right now, invade me. They didn't run up in North Korea, did they? And they still haven't. They didn't drop Delta Force in North Korea and kidnap Kim Jong-il and his son, did they? They sure the hell didn't. So that's why it's a good thing for these countries to claim they have these weapons. They're not saying they're only having these weapons for defensive purposes, because if Israel has these weapons in the region, everybody should have them. Why should Israel have a monopoly on self-defense? It doesn't make any sense logically. And if we're talking about equality and being fair, well, then that's the only thing that would make sense.
What's very surprising is that even though it was rumored, it was talked about, it was discussed that Ayatollah Sistani in Iraq was going to be issuing a fatwa against America and issuance of jihad if, in fact, Khamenei was targeted or martyred. Sistani came out and merely offered condolences to the Iranian nation and called for unity. So very interesting. Doesn't change the fact that Iraqi, militia groups are all operating. Doesn't change the fact that, the Green Zone is on the precipice of being overrun. Well, probably not overrun. It would just be a lot of dead people, right? They would just kill a bunch of people. That's probably what would actually happen. Doesn't change that, but it is very interesting.
You know what?
I'm not an internal Iraq.
I just saw that. You know what? That's a really good point, Bernard Goodhead. Africa is with Iran. Africa, I'm noticing that in Ghana, I've seen in Kenya and Nigeria, they are literally protesting the death and the murder of Ayatollah Khamenei. They are with Iran. Again, the Ayatollah was a figurehead for families. The religion is what keeps the family together. It actually gives you a playbook on how you're supposed to live life. And in these countries, they still have families. In the West, we do not. Families are a thing of the past. Strong families is what made our country strong, which is why dismantling the family has been priority number one in the West for the past 30 years. And it's been extremely successful. If you guys don't live in the US, consider yourselves, you're not in the know, but we literally have passports because you can no longer have a family here in the United States. And if you attempt it, do it at your own risk. So when you see people in Africa, they still believe in families. They're still humans. The anti-family agenda in the United States and in the West is anti-human because there's no reproduction. You're not allowed to have kids. They push abortions and homosexuality, and that's what the women in Iran want. Well, a small group of them, which is why the Iranian government is going to find them, and they're going to delete these women. They're going to have to purge them from society. If your father didn't do it, if your uncles didn't do it, the government is going to have to do it if they're going to maintain stability and be able to keep their sovereignty, because it's the women in Iran that are trying to push to overthrow the government. They're the ones who are burning pictures of the Ayatollah. That's like women in Italy burning pictures of the Pope. You wouldn't stand for it because you see the Pope is the pillar of religion, your foundation for your family. The Ayatollah is the same in the Muslim world, if that makes any sense to you.
Wacky player here. I don't got the inside ballpark details or whatever it's called, but that I do find interesting. We'll see if that develops. Try to figure that one out. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to talk now about how the Saudi Arabia and maybe the UAE will be joining the war against Iran. I want to say thank you to those of you sitting in super chats. Lean, thank you so much. How long do you think the war will last? Weeks or months. I think it's probably, it could last till tomorrow, could last years. I think the most likely outcome is it's going to last months, maybe a month or two in particular, to be specific. Ashkan, thank you for the super chat. Did Iran hit a nuclear plant in the desert? No, I think that would be breaking news. I did hear some reports that near the what's the nuclear plant that Israel has in the desert? I'm blanking on the name of it right now, but they did strike something near that. But even if that was hit, we'd have no idea. We'd have no way of knowing, even if it hit the compound, but not the reactor or the storage or something. Dan, thank you for the super chat. They killed the supreme religious leader of various countries during Ramadan. They made him a martyr, and it was very stupid. I agree. Rubel, thank you for the super chat. Parse, thank you for the super chat. UAE will definitely FAFO. I think they already are. They're FAFOing for signing the Abraham Accords. Anonymous, thank you for the super chat. Is this going to spiral into World War III? I mean, anything could happen. Personally, I don't think so. France, Berlin, London said that they're willing to help out in this conflict, but in World War III, personally, I say no. Personally, I say this is going to last 1 or 2 months. And then everyone's going to call it a wrap. Okay, my thoughts. That's kind of what I imagine is going to happen here. Okay, the only thing that will change my thoughts on this conflict lasting, a few 1 to 3 months is if there is deployments of, boots to the region. If they do a troop buildup in the region, If they do a troop buildup in the region, a lot could change, okay? And some of the things you should be looking out for regarding that, U.S. Special Forces, as we know, are stationed in Azerbaijan to the east. And then also, as I understand, they're in Turkmenistan, okay, to the northeast. So those are potential avenues where special forces could try to make their way into Iran. The problem they have, of course, is the terrain, mountainous, dangerous, deadly. I mean, imagine fighting a war in the Himalayas and you have no idea what's going not a good idea, right? Special forces movement is one thing you should look out for. The militant organizations, right? I saw that they're striking the Iranian border to try and create chaos amongst the border security. Kurdistan area because they've got a lot of militant groups there, proxy groups backed by the CIA and Israel. So they want to weaken the border. And then what they're going to do, this is going to happen for sure. They're going to activate the militant groups backed by the CIA and Mossad on the border and try to infiltrate. And then they're going to say, oh, we occupied 10 square miles of Iran. And then Iran is going to send an Iranian Mi-28 Russian attack helicopter over there. And it's just going to that's probably what's going to happen.
I agree with that assessment. If you want to know how this is potentially going to play out, just look at what happened in the Ukraine. Remember, the Ukraine's been getting their asses handed to them. But even when they were getting destroyed in Bakhmut, which is now called, it's called, I forgot the name, but Bakhmut, they changed the name to, it's called Artemovsk now. So just like when the war's over in the Ukraine, it's going to be called whatever the Russians want to call it. The cities in the Ukraine are being called whatever the Russians want to call them. Bakhmut is now Artemovsk. While they were fighting to defend Bakhmut and they developed a meat grinder for the Ukrainian military to be grinded up, the Ukrainians sent a brigade into villages on the other side of the Russian border into Russia. And the Russians went through there and they completely obliterated them. But they wanted to be able to say, for a short period of time, maybe about 2 weeks, they were able to occupy about 9 to 10 square miles of Russian territory, just to say they did. But all those men are gone now. They're conscripting men in their 60s and 70s, and the war has been over. The Russians are just taking their time. So they're going to try to say that they were able to occupy small portions of Iran, but the mountainous, they don't have the terrain that they have is going to be impossible for our vehicles to get into and for us to actually stage a massive offensive. We don't have the ground troops. And even if we did have the ground troops, they would be able to counter us because they know the terrain. We don't, and we're not prepared for it. And it's not a big enough necessity for us to take Iran. We don't need that territory, and we don't have what it takes to occupy it. We could not even handle the Afghanis, which was only 1/10 the size, and none of the weaponry. The Taliban is nowhere near as powerful as the Iranian Royal Guard. Are you insane? So yeah, if you want to see how things are going to play out, just look no further than go watch the reportings that have been going on from the front in the Ukraine. That's what you want to go look up, Bakhmut or Artemovsk and the surrounding territories, and look how things were a year and a half ago. And that's what is a good study for you to when you're comparing on what's potentially going to happen in Iran as well.
Answers question. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. So generous. Most generous community in the world. Thank you so much. Okay. Now let's talk about the UAE. Let's talk about the GCC states. One more super chat. Mumtaz, thank you for the super chat. Enemies of Cabal have not heard the American expression, hang together or hang separately. They prefer to fall one by one. Well, some could say that maybe if the Islamic response had been more unified at the start of the Gaza genocide, we wouldn't be in this position right now.
That's a good point.
That's
a good point. That's a good point. When the Zionists and the IDF initially started attacking the people in Gaza, had Iran began this campaign, we could have saved hundreds, we could have saved tens of thousands of Palestinians. The war would have ended in a quarter of the time, and the Palestinian people might already be free. We would have had a fighting chance. You can't let violence trickle in. If you're going to make an offensive, it has to be all at once. Right now, Iran is going by itself against the Americans and the Israelis because you waited on them to attack you first. But if you knew the attack was imminent, you might as well gathered all your forces together and tried to make a stance together, strength in numbers. They shouldn't have waited for this to trickle in, because now it's an uphill battle and you're basically fighting against their momentum because you're alone. Hopefully this is going to encourage. Well, now what you're noticing is that the governments in these surrounding Islamic countries are working with the Americans. However, the people are working against the Americans. The people are working against the Zionists. The people are the ones now trying to attack and get into the green zone, and they have the numbers, and there's nothing to fear because the Americans are going to kill you anyway. So it's not like you can be afraid to die. Death is coming. So do you want to die on your own terms, or do you just want to wait for them to come kill you? That's the question they have to ask themselves in the Muslim world. And that's why now they're saying, you know what, we have nothing to lose. So Hinkle's assessment of this is, in my opinion, is correct.
I'm saying. Okay, let's talk about this. So actually, let's make sure we have no breaking news alerts. Oh, wow, we do have a break. We have a breaking news alert, but thankfully it's about this story that we're covering. So this actually is perfect. Okay. Okay, wow. This is crazy. Unavailable, thank you for the super chat. Seems like a B-2 falling from the sky on X.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what you're saying.
He's saying it looks like they're saying there are reports that a B-2 bomber was hit. They were able, apparently they do have weapons that can hit our B-2 stealth bombers. And apparently it seems like there's reports, it has not been verified, but they're not going to verify and tell you that one of our most powerful ships was hit. They can't tell you that, because then you're going to say, oh, well, then maybe you're not as strong as you say. It's going to be a sign of weakness. If the reports are coming in from amateur journalists, and if you're able to sneak a little bit of information, you might want to look into it a little bit more, because it could be true. They're just not going to make an official announcement, because why would they? That would show weakness in our military capabilities. But if that is true, that's a huge, huge event.
Okay, wow. Wow. Big update, big breaking news. Big breaking news. Okay. So in the past 24 hours, if you can believe it, Iran has attacked directly or indirectly 15 different countries.
15 different countries at once? Wait a minute. That reminds me of only other country I've ever seen fight that many countries at the same time that are against them is Russia. Russia fought all of NATO in the Ukraine and won. NATO has what, 31 different? Let me ask Arthur, because I don't want to be wrong. Hey, excuse me, Arthur. How many countries are in NATO? How many countries are in NATO?
As of now, NATO has 32 member countries.
Okay, thank you, Arthur. So NATO has 32 different countries. They've all been involved in the Ukraine conflict against the Russians, and the Russians still haven't even had to declare war. It's still an SMO. It's still a special military operation. So as of now, Iran is following the Russian playbook, and they've attacked 15 separate countries at once. Unfucking real. America has never done anything like that. Right now, we're having a rough time just being involved in the Iran conflict, plus fighting the cartels in Mexico. Wow, we're spread thin, as is. Imagine if we had to fight 15 different countries at once. I don't. That's just unfathomable. But this is crazy.
Or their militaries. Okay. They have attacked Israel, United States, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Jordan, Iraq, Bahrain.
No, unfortunately, Oregon, Russia was butchering NATO soldiers in Ukrainian uniforms. I know this because I literally follow I'm a German speaker. I'm a Spanish speaker, speak French. I have to listen to the reports. So there were hotels in the Ukraine that were housing the foreign mercenaries, hundreds of them in just certain hotels. The Russians knew every hotel. The Russians turned those hotels into dust where it looked like 9/11. And they were only, the reason you knew who the soldiers were, the mercenaries that were there, were because when they were able to pull the body parts from the mercenaries, a lot of them have tattoos. And they would have the tattoos would be in English or in Swedish or in German or in French. And you would be able to figure out which countries these mercenaries that were in Ukrainian uniforms, where they came from. That's why there were so many French Foreign Legion in the Ukrainian military. And that's why Macron has been trying to find a way to get involved officially, because he's going to have to eventually explain to the French people why so many French soldiers are dying in the Ukraine, but there's no been official declaration of war. They're going to have to cover that up. People are starting to wonder why they haven't heard from their family members in a year. And you're not going to be able to use the excuse of, oh, they're on a top secret mission. Not anymore. So that is unfortunately been the case. They've just been NATO troops in Ukrainian uniforms. That way, these other countries can have something called plausible deniability, if you know what that is.
Oman, Syria, Cyprus, France, Italy, and the United Kingdom. Okay. Now, there's a little asterisk around the United Kingdom.
I don't know. How many aircraft carriers do you think we have? Oh, we got 11 aircraft carriers, and where are they? And also, if we sent all 11, and what if all 11 were sank at one time? See, that's the thing. You're putting a lot of eggs in one basket. We cannot afford to send all of our aircraft carriers there, even if we needed them, because what if they all get hit at once? At any time, the Russians can come in. At any time, so can the Chinese. Remember, they're all part of an economic block with each other called BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They're in an economic arrangement, but what if they decide to turn it on to military? We don't know how extensive their relationship is. We know there's Russian subs all throughout the Persian Gulf and that part of the world, and they haven't done anything yet. Imagine if the Americans were stupid enough to bring all 11 of their carriers into the region. And what if with just a couple of pushes of some buttons, they were all disappeared into the graveyard with to Davy Jones's locker? You can't put all your eggs in one basket. Strategically, that's a poor decision. So that's why even if they need them all there, they're not there.
And the whole Cyprus thing, because actually the missiles, they launched 2 ballistic missiles this morning, reportedly, at Cyprus, which houses thousands of British troops. There's 2 UK military bases on Cyprus, as well as thousands of Israeli troops. In fact, Israelis are just like buying up the land left and right. It's basically becoming like little St. James Island 2.0 for Israelis. Cyprus is. It's not even going to be a country anymore in a few years. It's just going to be swallowed into Israel. Okay, but that being said, I said put the asterisk around the United Kingdom Cyprus story because there was no reports of anything actually happening. There was just allegations that missiles were launched in the direction. But we have new information from Middle East Spectator, who is my trusted source, one of my go-to sources for following everything. I followed Middle East Spectator on all these conflicts, and by far and away out of the Telegram accounts, the fastest, the best, the most accurate, most insider information, ideologically coherent and whatnot. Middle East Spectator is the best. And they just reported initial reports of an Iranian missile or drone strike at the Akrotiri Air Base in Cyprus, which houses British forces and aircraft. Now, this is absolutely huge. Obviously, Israel operates out of there. Obviously, the UK operates out of there. The UK has come out and admitted that they are party to this conflict. They said, we are participating. We are proud of the fact that we are participating, so on and so forth, right? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. So this is absolutely crazy news. Crazy news. Initial reports of an Iranian missile or drone strike at the Akrotiri Air Base in Cyprus, which houses British forces and aircraft. if Iran just struck the UK base, or sorry, it's the Akrotiri, so it's like a British base. Wait, is it a British base? Akrotiri?
If they just hit a UK base, then that
Western
means
Sovereign Base Area. Oh, yeah.
That means the Royal Air Force, the RAF, has no choice but to get involved. And I don't think Iran gives a fuck if you activate Article 5. If they're already attacking 15 countries, don't forget, none of these countries, all the countries in NATO and all the countries in the Middle East, they don't all get along. This is a shit show on the horizon. And unfortunately for Trump, this is all going to blow back on him. One thing about Netanyahu, he's protected by his people. He's a Zionist. And to criticize him would be to deny the Holocaust. So he's protected. Trump's going to take the fall for this, unfortunately. And this is going to slow down our America First agenda, which is a problem. We don't need people using the lives of these Americans who are dead now, who are going to die subsequently in the coming weeks. And if they decide to hit a strategic American target that's not a base, what if they hit an American city and people die there? They're going to use that to want to impeach Trump, and they're going to try to blame him for everything. Again, that's just going to slow down our America First agenda. That's going to help. That's going to slow us down being able to secure our elections, to make sure people need votes. They need IDs to vote. That's going to slow down all the things that we need to do to secure our country and to bring it back into our control. That's why we don't need this. He bit off more than he could chew. He thought the Iranians would be more than happy to do a ceasefire. He's wrong. And we don't have the military capability to maintain a war from the air indefinitely. But the Iranians are on the defense, and they're being completely supported by the Russians and the Chinese, but they don't really need their help. They've been preparing to be invaded by all of NATO for the last 30 years. They don't need any help. That's why they turned down the ceasefire. They don't want it. So if they just hit a base, if they hit a British base that's housing Israeli troops, that means they've done their research. That means they have spies everywhere as well. They know where these targets are. They're not just shooting from the hip. We're no longer in Kansas at this point.
Yeah, Royal Air Force. It's a British base. I didn't know if it was like a Cypriot base that housed British forces, or if it was actually a UK base. And it's actually a UK base. This is actually crazy that they may have just hit that.
Yeah, you know what? I still watch Hinkle, but when he went full commie, I'll be honest with you. I just think that he's bad with definitions. I don't think what he's asking for, he doesn't understand what communism is. And I think he's more so socialist than a communist per se. And I just think it's a misnomer, and that he's using incorrect nomenclature for the government type that he has, because a communist wouldn't even be on the internet talking to people about these topics. That's not how it works under communism. So, but then again, I mean, it seems like we were going in slightly different directions. But just like with everybody else in the world, right? You listen, you take what you need, and you throw the rest away. You don't have to fully agree with anything. I'm a man. I'm a grown man. I'm an adult. I don't fully fucking agree with anybody. Not with Trump, not with Hegseth, not with Hinkle, not with anyone. There's no one on earth that I completely agree with every single thing. If Jesus was here, him and I might differ on footwear. I might not do the sandals with him. Just might not be my thing. Might want to wear socks with sandals. Who knows? But I don't completely agree with everybody. I have my own mind, my own opinions. I have my own belief system, and I have my own separate way of life. But it's all going to be America first and America only centered. So because I'm an American, yeah, I'm of Cuban descent. My family's from Cuba. I haven't been Cuban in a long time. I'm an American. America is my home. This is my background. I would literally want to defend this country. It's just hard to defend it right now when I would essentially be defending Drag Queen Story Hour and the systematic perversion and grooming of children. That's the part I can't defend. Eventually, we'll be able to purge those things out of society. But until then, it just makes it hard to justify dying for that for that way of life. Because the people who are doing the drag queen story hour, those men dressed as women trying to, molest kids, they should be on the front lines dying in these wars first, not actual patriots like myself. So until we can resolve that situation, I have to, there are some things I'm going to be a little apprehensive about. If that makes sense to you, subscribe to my channel, like the video. We're going to have these conversations. I'm not going to win any popularity contests, but I'm not supposed to. I'm a man. I'm not used to everybody liking me anyway. No one's supposed to like me. This is about our country. I'm not here to necessarily, necessarily just make everybody like me in that way. I want to have these conversations that are going to be tough and they're uncomfortable, but they have to be had. We're the time for the niceties. Those days are over. This is a time of war. So we have to fight and we have to be serious.
That would be a game changer. And I guess it would maybe give more of a reason for the recent reports we've been seeing from London, Berlin, and Paris that they're going to.
Oh, man, where'd that weird piece of where'd that Emmett guy go? He left. Oh, well. All right, we can keep going. But we need our resident trolls sometime. Am I a Republican? I'll be honest, I despise Republicans. I'm a conservative. Republicans are weak. Republicans are more so just speed bumps for Democrats. I am a MAGA conservative. I'm an America first. So we're a completely different category. We're a hybrid of MAGA and America first because I'm America only. So I'm a step further in the direction of pro-America. So that's a completely separate category. We don't fall in line with being Republican or Democrat. We think both are weak. They're uniparty pieces of shit, and we have to remove them from American politics. The same way we have to remove money. There are certain things that have contaminated us and destroyed our society. And the initial framework was amazing. Our forefathers put together, but since then it's been perverted and it's been interpreted to fit these agendas. But that whole Zionist agenda of pushing homosexuality and all these different things, that's where it's all, that's the source of the perversion of how everything's getting twisted. I'm more of a traditionalist, and I want us to go back to what we were intended to be. And we're going to get there eventually.
Join in on the conflict for defensive purposes, of course, right?
I mean, if you want to join, you're more than welcome. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel. I don't charge anything. I do these videos every single day for free. I have a business, I work, I have my own money. So when I'm doing this, it's not necessarily so that I can make money off of super chats. Do people do super chats? Yes. Do people do super stickers and send money and cash apps and stuff? Yes, they do. And I appreciate all the support. I use it to buy better microphones. I use it to, do more promotions and marketing, but I'm still a one-man show. I build all my own thumbnails. I do all my own headlines. I put everything together. And I'm operating out of my own house. This is just in my spare room here in Arizona, but we're going to be going back to Texas in the next few days, and I'm building a studio at my house there. So all the support does help. But again, I do these shows for free. They don't cost anything. You can support if you want to, but just you being here, liking the video, subscribing, sharing it. If you guys all, was it 380, 390? It's fluctuating. If you guys all shared the video just one time, I could be one of the largest creators on YouTube in the next 6 months. I can be one of the largest. Because, again, a lot of our favorite creators took the vaccine. So a lot of them are sick. They're just not telling you they're sick because they don't want you to know, because they don't want you to say, I told you so. So a lot of them will be passing away, unfortunately, like one of my heroes, Scott Adams. And we're going to need more people to fill that space. I understood that this population decline was coming. So that's why I decided to throw my hat in the fray, because there's going to be a big opening now. There's a gap. So I'm here to fill that gap. I'll provide information, content. I'll talk to you about the news. So if you subscribe to my channel and you follow me, that's all I ask for. You don't have to send any money or pay for anything. I do the videos for free. I just appreciate you guys' support and the shares, and that's all I need. So thank you very much. And yeah, please, you can subscribe and join the movement. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So
now, what's so incredible about this whole thing is, like, Israel claims, like, oh, we're so big and strong because we achieved air superiority above Iran. And that's even disputed. But like, who cares? Like first of all, you achieved nothing. You achieved nothing, Israel. Everything you've ever achieved is because the U.S. taxpayer has been forced to give it to you. Your fighter jets, your air defense systems, your missiles, your stupid Iron Dome, all this bullshit is because you literally blackmailed our politicians with Jeffrey Epstein and you stole this shit.
You know what? I wanted to read the comment from Taruk Kogo 5120. He said, "What are you saying, my friend? If America is your home, then Iranians and Americans have the right to live in Iran, but Iranians don't." It's not that. I don't believe that disgruntled gay Iranians who have been poisoned with this Western ideology about homosexuality and feminism, I don't believe that they have the right to call for other countries to help them overthrow the government that has been in place for over 40 years, that's kept the country secure and stable all this time with everything stacked against them. Israel's been calling for the destruction and the invasion of Iran for 30-something years. The Ayatollah has protected them with the Iranian military, the royal guard, etc. I remember Ahmadinejad. They're saying that he died in the latest Israeli strikes, and I believe he was a brilliant man, and that's such a waste of life. However, they kept their country stable. Their children had parents. Their husbands had wives. And in my opinion, it doesn't necessarily get much better than that. You might think you need boats and cars, and you need access to PlayStation, and you need porn, and you need all these other horrible things that destroy society. You might think that's what being free is because you live in the West. But real freedom is having a family and a wife and children and a structure and something that motivates you to want to get out and be the best and support your home, support your country, and believe in God. That's what God intended for us. Some of us think that other things are more important, and we're the ones that's lost. People in Iran, they were on the right track, but there are those in those countries that want to be gay very, very bad. They want to do OnlyFans. They want to sell their bodies. They want to degrade themselves. And then they're going to want a Persian man in 20 years to come and save them, piece them back together and take care of them. And they're going to fail the same way the women in this United States. 20 years ago, they were begging for freedom of sexual freedom. They went to go do porn. Now they're in their 30s and 40s. Nobody will marry them. Nobody wants to purposely have kids with them. And it's destroying our society because the men have passports and we go to other parts of the world now. So we're watching our whole society here in the West disintegrate. I don't think we have the moral high ground to give any other nations advice on how they should conduct themselves when it comes to their belief system or their structures or how they live. Iran has the right to have its own society. You should not, as Americans, it should not be our job to go and turn Iran into a baby America or to a baby St. James, a baby Epstein Island. Iran should be able to stay Iran. They should be able to hold their identity. And it shouldn't be up to me or Trump to say, oh, well, you guys should be like us. OnlyFans, porn, everything can be gay. You need to have pride parades and Pride Month. That's all these people are even asking for. Go ask these women what they want to do. They want to do sex. They want to do sex work. They want to be gay. They're not asking. They already can vote. They can drive. They don't have to do. That's the only stuff they're actually wanting. So if you don't realize that, it's really as simple as that. You guys would be surprised. Go watch what these women are saying that they want. And they are literally calling for the United States to destroy their stable government. And that's why you can't trust women. You have to protect women from themselves because they're calling for their entire way of life, the amazing, great Iranian society. Actually, Iran is the cradle of civilization. Iran, Iraq, the Sumerians, that's all the beginning right there. And they're calling for it to be overthrown because they want to be able to do OnlyFans, be naked on Instagram, and not have children and never get married. They want to be anti-human so bad that they're begging the Americans to destroy their country, and they even sold out the Ayatollah and all their leaders. Ahmadinejad is dead now. This is fucking insane. So no, I don't believe it's right for a small group of people who want to live like they're in the West to call for the destruction of Iran. If you want to live in the West so bad, leave the country. We'll do a Bay of Pigs from Iran. all the gays can leave and move to Canada or move to America and leave Iran for the Iranians. Okay, that has to be done. And for people who don't like the American way of life, move to another country. Everybody should live where they are accepted instead of trying to change where they are into something else. Just change where you live. Don't change the society. Just change societies. Move to a different one that's better suits your needs. I mean, that's my suggestion anyway.
Okay. So, oh yeah, we have air superiority. Well, how about this? In 5 hours, Iran was able to close the...
Who the fuck didn't say nothing about that when Zuckerberg spent 350 million Zuckerbucks so that he could influence the election by creating ballot drop box illegally for strangers to just go and randomly drop in? Are you fucking kidding me? I spoke out against that when it happened. I literally was talking about that on Instagram and Facebook, and they kicked me off for doing that during the last election cycle. What do you mean I didn't say nothing about that? You weren't following me, so how would you know? Don't get too far ahead of yourself unless you've been a consistent follower of me for the last few years, because if you did, you would have seen when I was kicked off the internet. You thought it was just Alex Jones and Dale Bigtree, RFK Jr. and Trump. No. There's people like me who I shared the Hunter Biden laptop story, didn't even leave a comment, and they nuked me from orbit. 13 years of Facebook posts, pictures, families, memories wiped. All my Instagram pages shut down, my YouTube channel, millions of views, mainly just doing pop culture, funny stuff, wiped. As soon as I wanted to talk about anything with a little bit of substance, wiped from orbit. So don't make that claim. You don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. I spoke out against that heavily, which is why I know so much about it. If you want to have that conversation, just ask. But don't just assume that I didn't say anything about it. You wouldn't even know. You weren't even following me back then. I don't even know if you subscribe to me now. Klein, say Junior. I have no idea. I don't know. So if you're not following me, if you're not subscribed to me, then you might want to do a little bit of research into what I talk about, and then you can make that determination. But as of right now, my friend, you are incorrect.
Airspaces in all these countries. And all these countries in the region, Dubai.
Iran had to murder those people. They were going to overthrow their society. It was 40K gay people in Iran who wants the country to allow pride parades and to basically drop their religion and then stop and then be anti-family, anti-stability, and anti-Iranian. They want that country to be a Western cutout. They want Tel Aviv to be Tehran. And that's not going to happen. The country had to protect itself from those agitators. And a lot of those agitators were being paid by the West to conduct those protests and riots in an attempt to overthrow the government. The problem with that was the timing. If the Americans and the Israelis had started their assault 2 weeks ago, they would have been able to do that. Those protesters wouldn't have died. The problem is those protesters went out there protesting, assuming they were going to have the CIA and the American military backing them and the IDF, and they left them hanging. Because they left them hanging, the Iranian government also left them hanging, if you know what I mean. And so they had to protect themselves. Those people were domestic terrorists against the Iranian government. Instead of being terrorists against the government, they were better off applying for visas and leaving the country and going to be gay somewhere else in peace. You're not going to be able to be gay everywhere you want to be. That's just not going to be the action. You want to be gay in your country, you want to go, you like kids, you're not going to be able to do that everywhere. Only in California can you molest kids and be gay, and people will celebrate you, give you pride parades, and the judges won't make you register as a sex offender. You're not going to be able to do that in Iran. Sorry, not sorry.
Airport is closed. Abu Dhabi airport is closed. Doha airport is closed. Kuwait airport is closed. Bahrain airport is closed. Ben Gurion is closed. Okay, and all the airspace.
Danny, where in America did Iran attack? Name the city. If not, then you're full of shit, my friend, and you should put yourself on timeout.
Are closed as well. We also saw today that Iran bombed an Emirati oil rig in the Persian Gulf with a Shahid drone. This is the first time that we've seen Iran launch these large-scale attacks on the oil and gas assets.
That is an amazing strategy. You hit these people in their pockets, and their investors are going to tell Trump to pull the plug. The investors, the people that are going to lose money because it's money over everything. This is when, see, the Iranians are doing the smart thing. Now you're affecting business. Yeah, nobody cares about bombing kids. No one cares about bombing facilities and killing people. Yeah. But when you start affecting the business, when you start affecting the oil, that's when we have a problem. Remember the movie Dune? Didn't they say the spice must flow? Well, on our world, it's oil. The oil is the spice. The oil must flow. The spice must flow. And if you're attacking the oil infrastructure that these countries built their entire wealth and their societies off of, well, now these countries are going to have to beg Iran for peace. And I don't think Iran's going to accept it up front. I think they're going to need some guarantees. I think that Iran's going to have to be on the board of peace to ensure that they're never attacked again. And I think that Israel, I think that we're going to have to start questioning the value of our relationship with Israel versus a relationship with Iran. Who's more valuable? Now, as far as I can tell, some of you might believe me, some of you don't. I think Israel has the technology that Epstein was working on. I think Israel has it, and I think they share it with the United States. The technology Epstein was working on back at Zorro Ranch with the scientists from the Manhattan Project was they were building genetic algorithms, i.e., they were trying to create technology that could look into the future to predict the stock market. Looking glass technology. It seems like they were successful at it. And by 2008, they could actually see more than just the stock market. The U.S. has access to that technology along with Israel, which is why we protect Israel. I don't know how much good that information is going to do if a country like Iran cannot be stopped from destroying the sources of money that are being created. Because if you want to look into the future to make money, if your money is also going to be affected, well, then what's going to be more important? I think it's going to come down to it. I think we might not be able to support Israel as much as we want to if they're going to keep making us fight Iran. We bit off more than we can chew. So anyway, remember what I just said. I'm going to clip that I just said right there, and it's going to be in my shorts. I have tons of stuff in my short, tons of material and content. So that's why when you follow my channel, you follow my page, I have a lot of information for you and a lot of different topics. So please make sure you stay tuned. If you didn't know what I was just talking about when it comes to looking glass technology, go watch his Epstein interview with Steve Bannon, and then you compare it to the data that they have on Epstein when they won the lottery, those 2 different times in a row, and all the other different things. Apparently, Epstein was able to help the Israelis see into the future, which is why they've always been so far ahead of all their enemies when they're surrounded by adversaries. We'll get back into that some more, but I want to focus on the war. Again, the spice must flow, but now if they're affecting the oil infrastructure, it's going to take time and money to rebuild, and our gas prices are going to go up, and that's going to affect the America First agenda because, well, we've been running on global security when it comes to financial security, oil security, and Iran is now unleashing hell on all these countries and oil is their main export, their only export for the most part. This is a really good bargaining chip, but I don't know what Iran wants besides to be left alone. But every time they agree to leave you alone, all they do is just regroup and attack you again. So Iran's they can't stop. They can't stop. So we're going to have to, if you guys are in the chat, we're a think tank right now. So we need to all figure out different suggestions on what Iran can do, what the Americans can do to stop this and have peace indefinitely. Only thing I can think of is neutering the Israelis, removing their offensive capabilities and taking away their nukes. They just have way too much. They have way too much power, and they have too much control over the American arsenal. We have to neuter them. We have to, or we're going to just be in perpetual war with these other countries forever.
Now, if Saudi Arabia joins the war tomorrow, which Trump is hinting at, it's going to be over. It's not just going to be Iran launching at these oil and gas assets, and Saudi Arabia knows that. I don't know.
Iran taking hostages is not Iran attacking the United States. Those are 2 different things. I think I know what you're talking about. Actually, let's ask Arthur. Hey, Arthur, do me a favor. I want you to tell me about the time Iran took those American hostages. And can you explain that whole situation in the year?
You're likely referring to the Iran hostage crisis. In 1979, after Iran's Islamic Revolution, militants stormed the US embassy in Tehran. They seized 52 American diplomats and citizens, holding them hostage for 444 days. This was driven by outrage over the US allowing Iran's deposed Shah to receive medical treatment. The crisis ended in January 1981 with the Algiers Accords, shortly after President Reagan's inauguration.
Well, that's okay. Thank you, Arthur. I wouldn't consider that as Iran consistently attacking America. What the hell are you talking about? That's not the case. Also, this is from way before I was born. Not to say I'm not a history buff, but I didn't know much about this. I don't think any of these Americans died. So they were just held hostage for a year and a half. And then they were subsequently released. The Algiers Accords followed. That's not Iran attacking Americans. What are you talking about? If you have something else, I'm more than happy to hear it. Israel should not have nuclear weapons. Absolutely. They shouldn't even have the threat of nuclear weapons. And then if they have nuclear weapons, it's hypocritical for them to say another sovereign nation should not have them, but they can. See, my issue is you cannot say rules for thee, but not for me. Rules for me, but not for thee. That's like the bullshit my mom used to say. Well, I can do it, but you can't. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you hate that as a kid, but if I'm living with you, then okay. But if I'm an independent grown person, you can't talk to me like that. If I'm a sovereign nation and I want to have a certain way, you can't tell me what I cannot have as another sovereign nation. I'm not under you. I'm not your vassal. I'm not under your control. What you eat does not make me shit, in other words. So that's why I don't believe in just being able to dictate what other people can or cannot have. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Why on earth they would decide to join this war? Because it's not just going to be Iran. In fact, their biggest issue is going to be Yemen. Because the last time Yemen was striking at those oil and gas fields in Saudi Arabia, they...
Arisha Gorba, there's no such thing as white supremacy. The fact that you would call a white person supreme, it just means you have a black inferiority complex. It's nothing to do with white people. It's something within you. It was ingrained in you by your parents and your grandparents and your circle. They make you feel less than. They told you were inferior. So you have an inferiority complex, which is why you would call strangers who are white supreme or a supremacist. That's you looking up to them because you look down on yourself. That's a mental problem that's in-house. It's in your own mind. It's not reflected in reality. There's no policies that support it. So it's all mental. And that's why you're the only people that suffered from it. It's not something that's unilateral, that's universally an issue for anyone else in this country. It's just for you guys. And you guys are at the very bottom for that very reason. You have a lot of your own mental illness that you have to sort through before you will be able to join the American public as a whole. I don't think it's going to be able to happen ever. So I gave up on it. But if there's hope, then maybe you'll find a way. But it doesn't seem like there is much hope for your people, which is why they had to vaccinate you all.
Hit one of these oil fields and global oil prices skyrocketed by 5% in a matter of minutes. Yemen had nothing then. They now have hypersonic missiles which reach Israel. They now are hitting, almost hitting U.S. fighter jets out of the sky, our most prized fifth generation fighter jets. They're almost hitting U.S. aircraft carriers, right? Like, how could Saudi Arabia possibly think that this is a good idea? I don't know. We also saw today Iranian impact on Dubai airport. Direct hit on Dubai chocolate. This is a satellite photo, so you can see here if you look closely in the far right third of the photo, you see the Jebel Ali port in Dubai is on fire in a very big way. So you see two big plumes of smoke. Right next to this has got to be some Epstein stuff. I don't even know what goes on these things, but I just think Epstein when I see that stuff. Dubai chocolate parties. Iran also struck the Sharjah Mall. Now, I will say that the Sharjah Mall, there's Not a lot of clarity as to whether that was struck or whether that was shrapnel. I have no idea. Frankly, I didn't really care to follow up on the details of that. I would imagine that was probably shrapnel. This is reportedly a video out of Dubai. I saw this video circulated everywhere. I'm going to tell you right now, I saw this video circulating everywhere. Can anyone confirm the validity of this? Because I saw literally even big news accounts posting it. That's only why I posted it. I posted it way after everyone else. But doesn't this just look kind of fake to you a little bit? I waited until all the big news accounts posted it, but for some reason this video just looks a little bit fake. But hey, maybe it's real. I don't know. Now, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, they got very, very angry today. Okay, they got very, very angry, and now we're on the precipice of them joining the war against Iran, I guess. The reason why the UAE and Saudi Arabia got so angry is actually quite simple. For starters, Iran attacked their paymasters. So Iran said it targeted the United States' CIA headquarters in Dubai and the UAE. Israeli Channel 15 came out and confirmed that. So that is in fact true. CIA headquarters were hit in Dubai and the UAE. Thomas Keith wrote, there's now a circulating report claiming that 6 senior CIA officers were killed in the UAE after precision strike hit a residence used by agency personnel in Dubai, with 2 others reportedly being injured. The strike is described as part of the missile barrage launched by the IRGC yesterday. So as per usual, again, it's they weren't just doing this for any random reason. They were hitting specific precision targets. Even CNN admitted that that was likely what was going on. And now Israeli Channel 15 has admitted it. And the reports are that actually there were, in fact, casualties amongst the CIA officers in the building. Oh, my goodness. Now, this is the real reason why the UAE has completely denounced the Iranian regime. And they're prepared to go to war against Iran. And they closed their embassy and they said, we're cutting off all communication with Iran. The UAE is so angry because the pedo executive in chief of the UAE, the former CEO of DP World, who was emailing Jeffrey Epstein nonstop about, oh, did you like the torture video, Mr. Epstein? And he had all these videos and photos they were sending back and forth, and they were spending all this time together. And this man, Sultan Ahmed bin Suleiman, was giving Jeffrey Epstein these precious Islamic artifacts and pieces of cloth. He's a big guy. He is the former CEO of DP World, okay? And he was very close with Epstein. And Iran decided today that they were actually quite literally going to bomb the DP World area in Abu Dhabi. So you see the smoke plumes rising from the scene. They are actually striking the Epstein targets, okay? It is absolutely unprecedented. They're striking the Epstein targets. DP World no more. And once that happened, what did the UAE do? They withdrew its ambassador from Tehran, closed the embassy, and suspended all diplomatic relations with Iran. Attack Epstein, man. Suspend all diplomatic relations. It's just it's a 1-2. It's an ABC situation. This is just, it's tit for tat, You strike our Epstein assets, we're gonna suspend all diplomatic ties with you. Now, Saudi Arabia, according to CNN, announces it will retaliate against Iran militarily if U.S. bases in the kingdom continue to be attacked. So that was reported this afternoon. And then we got confirmation from CNN, further confirmation, that the UAE and Saudi Arabia had asked Iran to designate a spot in the Iranian desert to bomb as a symbolic strike and declared as a response to Iran's attacks, and Iran rejected that. They said, "No, you're not going to be doing any symbolic. We're not doing that anymore. You're hosting U.S. bases that are responsible for murdering 160 girls at an elementary school. We're not letting you do some bullshit symbolic attack. That's over. That's over." Now, later on, this was 2 hours ago, Gulf countries issued a joint statement saying they have a right to respond to Iran's unacceptable and unjustified attack. So they're really pissed off that they're hitting like Labubu targets, Dubai chocolate targets, and the Epstein Ahmed bin, what is that guy's name? Ahmed bin Suleiman, Sultan Ahmed bin Suleiman, best friend of Jeffrey Epstein. They're very angry that they're Labubu, Dubai chocolate, and Ahmed bin Suleiman are getting hit. So the UAE, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, they all put out a statement on behalf of their American paymasters and said, please stop. We need to stop or else we're going to do something about it. Trump says regarding news that Saudi Arabia could launch attacks on Iran, they're fighting too, in an interview with the Daily Mail. So according to Trump, apparently, Saudi Arabia is fighting too. I guess they're going to get in on the action. They're going to join the strikes, I guess. I mean, I really have no idea, but I guess that means that they're supposed to be joining at some point. There's talks that it could be tomorrow, that we could see Saudi joining the operation tomorrow. After this message went out from all the GCC states, the U.S. naval support facility in Bahrain was hit once more. So the Iranians actually give no fucks at all. They are not backing down. And the crypto bros, the course sellers, the scammers, the call center guys, the OnlyFans girls in the UAE are losing their minds. The sultans are leaving on their helicopters. They're going to go have their chocolate prosty parties somewhere else outside of the UAE because the UAE is not a the St. Regis Hotel penthouse. The St. Regis Hotel smoke was rising. You know, you can't have a Dubai chocolate party, I guess, when there's smoke rising all around you and you've got Shahed 139 drones whizzing by. I guess you just can't do that. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to talk now about something else really big that just went down. I want to say thank you to those of you sending in super chats right now. Parse, thank you so much. Josephine, thank you. Gene, thank you for joining as a member. By the way, guys, join as a member right now. If you miss our streams, we set them to private for members only after we go live. So the only way you can watch us after we're live is if you join as a member. Thank you, Ahmed. Do you think HA won't get involved at all? Hezbollah? No, I think they will get involved. Probably. If it gets worse, yeah, I think they will. Especially if Saudi, UAE, yeah, they'll get involved. Unavailable, thank you for the super. Oh, we already read that one. Anonymous, thank you for the super chat. UAE about to be the UAV. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get into the next story. Let's talk about this. So, I want to impress upon you my deep, deep disdain and hatred for Donald Trump, his stupidity.
Yeah. Okay. So again, we're gonna take what we want to hear. We're gonna take what we need from this live, and then we're gonna throw the rest away. The pressures. I'm not gonna make excuses for Trump. This is inexcusable because lives are lost. Not Israeli lives, American lives. Lots of them. And why he keeps allowing Israel to bring them into a trap. Yes, you want looking glass technology. Yes, you want to have access to their technology. But at what cost? What are you willing to sacrifice for that access? And I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. Trump was put into a trap again, and he fell into it again. They set a trap for him last year, June. He barely made it out of that one alive. I don't know about this one. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it out of this unscathed. This was ridiculous for him to use the American military to attack Iran on behalf of Israel. It doesn't make sense. and he hasn't gave us
The
a good
vanity
reason.
he lives in.
He hasn't given us a good reason why he did it. So because of that, he loses credibility. I don't really know how you can support this. I mean, he already lost MTG, Marguerite Taylor Greene, and she's one of my favorite politicians. And if she's saying that there's a problem with Trump and this system is broken because of the Zionists in Israel, then I think she's right. I think we have to listen to her. But until Trump can break free of that, whatever hold Netanyahu has over him, then we're going to be in trouble indefinitely. And it's going to be MEGA and MIHA, make Israel happy again, make Israel great again. And that's a problem. That's completely opposite of the America First agenda. That's not what I signed up for. Israel is a faraway land that I'm never going to go to. I don't want to go there. I don't want to deal with those people. And this is putting us at a disadvantage. So I have my issues with Trump, but I'm not going to go as far as Hinkle. I don't have a hatred for Trump at all. I love his policies. He's saved our society in California. We're still working against Newsom, but rents are going down. People are getting jobs again. Crime's down. So that him and ICE have already changed the world for a lot of people here in the United States. I've never seen these type of results from any president in my lifetime. Well, Trump 2019, I felt the results. Oh, those were some good days, boy. 2019 Trump, man, those were amazing times. But now it feels like that again here in the U.S. And then he goes and attacks Iran for no reason. It doesn't make any sense. And if there is a good reason, why not share it with the public? I mean, you're expecting us to support you, right? So again, we're not going to listen to that part of Hinkle, but there's other stuff he's saying that makes sense.
Retardation. I don't know what he expected. I really honestly do not know what he expected was going to happen when he decided to assassinate Ayatollah Khamenei. But whatever he expected was going to happen definitely did not happen. And I would imagine that he is not a happy camper right now. Okay. And thank you to Red Mice for the super chat. Thank you so much. So look, you guys, Donald Trump could never understand the martyred Ayatollah Khamenei. He doesn't understand a man that, values his backbone, his country, his people, his honor, his dignity, his faith.
Yeah, right. China does get a lot of their oil from Venezuela. And because it's easier to get it from Venezuela than it is from Russia, even though they share a landmass, there's issues with the pipelines going from Russia to China through, I guess, because of the mountain ranges. I don't know. I guess they haven't figured that out. But a lot of the oil from China a lot of oil that China procured was coming from Venezuela. And that's a big problem because that's in our hemisphere. But if we're going to be denying them oil from Venezuela, then what if they decide to deny us antibiotics and other things that we need that we get from China? That's why Trump's pushing for manufacturing to return. Now, he can't force people to make a return, but if he makes it more expensive and difficult to import from other places, then the market is going to create the ability to produce these things here in the U.S. That's a part of the America First, America Only agenda. I just hate the rest of this bullshit that's coming along with Trump. If he could only just stay focused.
His soul, his spirituality, more than the U.S. dollar. So when people say that the U.S. and Israel are fighting a war against God, and for that reason they will never be successful, it's because that's quite literally what's happening. You have Wall Street Epstein demons, which are murdering little girls. They also blew up a sports arena and killed 40 women who were practicing volleyball in Iran. So, I mean, they're just sacrificing people to Baal. And as they're doing this, they can't understand why the Iranians won't back down, why they won't cave. They don't understand this. And it's because of simple facts like this. This right here, as you all know, is the prized possession of Donald Trump. This is his Mar-a-Lago mega mansion in Florida. The Mar-a-Lago mega mansion in Florida. This is the taste. This is the lifestyle. This is what he values. He values this mansion more than he values his children. Definitely more than he values the lives of any American troops that are getting blown up in the region right now. And I want to compare this because you will understand the difference in these two men if you don't already understand it. This is where Donald Trump lives. This is where Donald Trump is saying it's okay if U.S. troops are going to die because that's what happens. He's belittling the deaths of U.S. troops, not even mentioning the fact that the USS Abraham Lincoln bombed an elementary school in Iran. This is where Ayatollah Khamenei was martyred. This is Ayatollah Khamenei's home. This is where he worked. This is where he gathered with his family, with his advisors, with his friends. Ali Larijani was asked the question today, why is it that Khamenei was in his home? Why is it that he was in his home? The simple reason being, of course, because Khamenei said, well, I don't want to disrupt my daily life. I like my life. I don't want to be in some bunker. I don't want to be.
Yeah, that whole greater Israel bullshit, the return of Baal, the second coming of Satan, their whole, that black cube with the six-sided hexagon, that black cube, Saturn worship bullshit, all that superstitious bullshit. Those people live and die by it in Israel, those Zionists. They live and die by it. And I don't think we as Americans should have any part in supporting it. I don't know why it has such a strong hold over our politicians, but it fails to mentally sustain the American population. What are the politicians seeing that we don't? Yeah, money is cool and all, but it has to be more than just money. These people seem like like when I saw that interview with Tucker Carlson and Mike Huckabee the other day, I mean, it was the way this man, as an American, was cucking for this country that he was now inside. He's actually in Israel. Like he's living there full time, but he's still an American politician. It was just weird as fuck. Did you guys see that video the other day with Huckabee and Tucker Carlson? And Tucker, destroyed him and made him look like a clown. But it's just like, why? It's like these people have some kind of mental, like they're a part of a hive mind all of a sudden, controlled by some, I don't know, some kind of Israeli hydra that can make them say like they're puppets. It's like this weird control. And I'm like, it seems like they have part-time control over Trump and part-time he's free on his own. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but no, we definitely can't support it. And we can't let that lead us anymore. Yeah, he is a Trump hater for sure. I mean, the rest of us don't agree. The way he feels about Trump, that's how I feel about Obama. But I can understand where he's coming from. Where was this dude when Obama killed Americans? Well, he was in third grade. He wasn't, Jackson Hinkle's 23 years old. So when Obama was president, he was probably eating Crayolas somewhere.
Be hiding like Netanyahu does, where Netanyahu gets on a plane and goes to Greece or something. I don't want to hide, right? I want to live my life. He knew he was a living martyr, and he was willing to die for the cause his entire life. He was willing, ready, and happy to die as a martyr and to go to paradise. Okay? This is where Ayatollah Khamenei lived. This is his living room. One more time. Donald Trump.
He lived a very humble lifestyle is basically the point that Hinkle's making, because he was in this line of work for the right reasons. He wasn't in this line of work to enrich himself or to get a Ferrari or to get a mansion or to get a TV deal. He was in this line of work to protect his country, his way of life, to live by his religions, his teachings, and to basically perpetuate how he was raised and to raise his family in the same manner. He wanted to keep families together. He wanted husbands to take wives and have children and be fruitful and multiply. He wasn't materialistic, obviously, and it wasn't for the wrong reasons. And that's where we're faltering here in the West. So that's what Hinkle is. That's the point Hinkle is making. He's basically trying to say that Trump is boisterous and, enriching himself, and it's all about money. I'll fast forward past this part.
I don't really know what they expected was going to happen, but murdering an 89-year-old man, murdering his 14-year-old granddaughter, Yeah, that's not going to win the hearts and minds of the Iranian public. Murdering 40 women playing volleyball, 160 young girls at a school. Yeah, the number's up to 160 now, 160 plus. That is not going to win the hearts and minds of Iranians. They're not going to believe that you're actually there to help them and provide something better to them. Obviously not. Now, Israel has...
I mean, if you think about it, the Iranian people, the Iranian military, they have nothing to lose. You've already killed their leadership of their country. You've massacred children on playgrounds. You've killed people having volleyball games. You were basically just bombing their country unprovoked, indiscriminately. But then you're wondering why they were saying death to America. It doesn't make any sense. It's not logically consistent. Now we're hoping that they would want a ceasefire so that we can regroup and try to hit them again in another 6 months, and then again in another 6 months, and then it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I think the Islamic world is going to have to realize if they don't act now, then they are next. Israel has a bloodlust. Ball must be fed. They fed Ball the souls of 160 young girls at school the other day when they began their operation. How many more people in the Middle East are going to be fed to Ball? Are you going to just wait to be fed, or are you going to defend yourself? It ultimately is up to you.
Declared a special state of emergency for another 12 days following the intensity of the Iranian bombing. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because, as I mentioned...
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Trump's a part of the chess game. I think he's a glitch in the matrix, if you will. That's why I don't understand why he's even bothering playing ball with the Zionists. I mean, they obviously... Where were the Zionists when they kicked Trump out of office and they stole the election for Biden just so that he can push abortions and poisonous vaccines on Americans? What was the purpose of kicking Trump out of office? Where were the Zionists? Why didn't they protect him back then and keep him in office? Or does everything happen for a reason? I mean, why is he being nice to them now? Where they turned their back on Trump. I remember when they said Biden's the greatest ally Israel's ever had. They said it about every fucking body. So I don't see why he's even playing the game. He's not a part of their plan. From what I can tell, Trump was wrong. Has nothing to do with being a hater. Yeah, I agree. He was definitely wrong for this attack in Iran. It was, in my opinion, it was unnecessary. They are not threatening us. They are not a threat to us. I mean, it's just like me, right? Say I'm walking down the street and there's a paraplegic in a wheelchair, and he's like, "Fuck you! I'll do this and this to you." And then I stop in my tracks, and I'm like, "Oh, what'd you say?" And I go kick the guy out of the wheelchair and just start stomping him. Excuse me. It's like, whoa, really? Were his words? Did they hurt me? Did his words hurt me? Oh, am I that sensitive and fragile? Everyone doesn't have to kiss your ass and talk about how much they love you. That's black people demand that. The rest of the world, that's not even a realistic thing. No one needs to be worshiped because they were born or because of the color of their skin. That's a black thing. The rest of the world, normal people don't require that. Nobody's begging other people to worship them full time. That doesn't make any sense. So just because someone's saying how much they dislike you and they call for your death, that doesn't mean you go and destroy them and bomb them. That's their opinion about you. Maybe you should look into why they're saying that. Maybe they have a point. You got to put yourself in other people's shoes if you're looking to find common ground. But you're not going to find common ground by attacking them and killing kids. That doesn't make that's inconsistent with that's morally inconsistent.
Khamenei was not in some bunker. Of course he had a bunker, but he wasn't in it. He said, "I don't want to go to it." He was not in some bunker. The Israelis already...
I mean, you know what? Right now, Danny, we're in the fog of war. It very well could have been a malfunctioned Iranian missile. At this point, it doesn't matter. The missiles wouldn't have been flying if the Americans had not, and the Israelis and Americans had not attacked Iran. then there wouldn't have been a response from the Iranian missile that fell and hit the school. It should not have happened in the first place, is my point. In the fog of war, that's inconsequential. The school was bombed, regardless of who bombed it. It was bombed, and it was bombed because a fight broke out because one country, unprovoked, attacked another. So it doesn't. So but we're in the fog of war. There's a lot of things we don't know. I mean, for the first day, we didn't even know if Khamenei, the Ayatollah, had been killed. We're in the fog of war. The Iranians were saying, well, as far as they know, he's alive. Israelis are saying he's dead. So we don't really know. And there's a lot of things we really don't know. What we're doing now is we're on Telegram, we're on X. We're actually getting up-to-date, by-the-minute updates from people who are on the ground in these countries, live reporting, and then we're relaying it to our audiences here in the U.S. and abroad in Europe. A lot of my audience is in Germany. Wie geht's dir, alle Freunde de Deutschland? And a lot of my other followers are in the UK, France. They ask me to speak about certain topics because they don't have freedom of speech. They can't talk about them. So they send me emails, and these are my friends. I speak about them. I speak about topics my friends in Australia ask me to talk about. So that's why we're here doing these reports, because they can't do them themselves. Because they'll get a knock on their doors and they'll be arrested. And that's a fact. So that's why we're here.
Pre-planning, pre-scheduling their bunker schedule. They're in the bunker each and every day. Today there was an Israeli citizen who actually died because he was running to the bunker and he fell. I'm not even kidding. One of the Israeli hospitals came out and said as much. Compare that to, please compare that to the Israelis say, we're so strong. We don't care about we're strong. We're Israelis. We're staying on our business. We're in our land. We're not leaving. Yeah, but you're actually all in bunkers deep underground. Okay. How strong are you? Because you're bombing the shit out of Tehran right now. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Tehran got absolutely rocked today. All across Tehran, there were massive strikes. This morning already, Israel had dropped 2,400 bombs on Iran. America had dropped 1,000.
So do you know what that means? That means inadvertently, they are likely killing the resistance fighters that they were hoping were going to help them overthrow the Iranian government. So the people who they've been paying to be spies that sold out the Ayatollah's address and told them where everybody was going to be. Well, even after they killed the leadership, now they're still bombing. And the people that they paid off that were supposed to become the new leaders of Iran, now they're being killed by the Americans and the Israelis. You can't make this shit up. This is hilarious. They're killing the people that they were hoping were going to take over. That's the ironic part about it, and how idiotic these people are. They're not leading with intelligence. They're literally bombing. They're bombing Iran, and the people they're killing are a lot of the people that were the resistance and the freedom fighters. A lot of the gay women that they were hoping were going to help them overthrow the government. Yeah, they're blowing them bitches up. Them hoes are being blown to hell. No more OnlyFans for you. You will, that'd be more so a snuff film. That's the only kind of OnlyFans uploads you're going to be doing. You wanted to be naked on Instagram and your clothes are off, but they were blown off. So you're kind of getting the same effect, but kind of not. So
that number increased dramatically throughout the day. Okay. And
in my opinion, the country who's the biggest terrorist in the world is Israel.
Despite the overwhelming force, they're trying to Gazify Iran. Despite that, what do the Iranian people do? Do they go hide in bunkers? No. Iranians are flooding the streets in Karaj to support the Islamic Republic. I can show you. I can sit here for the next 3.
The people who are supporting the the Iranian Islamic Republic, they better quickly find all the women who have been posting on social media calling for the destruction of Iran, who have been burning pictures of the Ayatollah, who have been talking about how they want pride parades and they're looking for allies in the Western countries, and talking about how horrible it is in Iran and how they want to basically overthrow the government. These people who are protesting in these streets need to find every single one of those women who want to be gay and wanted to overthrow and destroy their country, they better find them all quickly. Quickly. Because if they don't, see, that's the reason why the US is bombing Iran, because they assume they have the support, not the majority, but a large chunk of people who can actually help them overthrow. Because see, they're Americans, this is Trump we're talking about. He doesn't have the stomach for death. He doesn't. He's not built like that. He is not going to commit exact American troops on the ground because he knows they'll be killed. So he needs the boots on the ground to be Iranians working on behalf of the American government. Those women are who he was banking on. Those gay college kids is who he was banking on. They've executed all the kids, the college kids, but it's these women who they didn't execute that are still making these videos that are amplifying and actually giving the Americans this false idea that with just a little bit more pressure, they're going to be able to overthrow the government. The people who are protesting in favor of the Iranian government and the regime and their way of life, they must find those gay women ASAP fucking Rocky, or they're going to keep trying to get those women to overthrow the government. They're going to send those women money, and they're going to keep creating this, I wouldn't even say a resistance, just say these terror cells of agitators. They have to hurry up and do something about that, or they're going to have a bigger problem later. It's just like any other disease or a cancer. You can't let it metastasize. You must surgically remove it. To save the body, you might got to remove the limb. And those people are cancers that have to be removed to spare the body.
3 hours and show you, every single city in Iran. We're not going to do that. Despite massive ongoing bombardment across Tehran, hundreds of thousands of Iranians are on the streets to support the Islamic Republic.
Now, when I'm talking about the women they need to remove, let me give you guys some examples. This is who I'm talking about.
All the allies of queer community, this message is for you, and I'm sending you this message in desperate need. To all the people in queer community and all the allies of queer community, this message is for you, and I'm sending you this message in desperate need of your support.
The Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Unfortunately, that is true, but these are not any Iranians. These are the same radical Muslims that are supported by the regime. The same regime we're fighting against. The same regime where in it the people who unalive homosexuals will not face a big punishment because they killed the sinner. The same regime where in it being a homosexual is punished by imprisonment, 100 lashes, and death penalty. So to all the people in queer community and all the allies of queer community, I ask of you to stand with the people of Iran who want this Islamic dictatorship gone. So maybe one day our Iranian queers can walk in their homeland freely.
That's enough. That's bullshit. They want Iran to be gay. They want to have pride parades in Iran. They want to openly be able to have little boys have sex with little boys, little girls have sex with little girls, never marry the opposite sex, never have children. They want to be gay very bad. They want to be on OnlyFans. They want to sexualize themselves. And then in 20 years, they're going to hope a man's going to come and save them and overlook their past. It's the same playbook being repeated over and over again in different Western countries throughout the world. Iran, Russia, and China have been diligently fighting against this. This is why they have certain laws to maintain order, but also to keep families and humanity together. Women like this, if she's in Iran still, they must find her. She's a problem. These women that are currently in Iran, find them. They have to. They are burning pictures, of the Ayatollah. The women who are in Iran that are calling for this sexual revolution, where because they want to do OnlyFans and be prostitutes and destroy and not have children, not be married to men, and to get this freedom from being a typical human woman, they destroy their whole society. Find these women. They are a threat. These women are terrorists. They are literally working with foreign governments in an attempt to destroy their republic. See, and the reason I keep bringing up women is because if you look around, it's only the Iranian women who are calling for the destruction of Iran. It's only the Iranian women and the gay Iranian men who are calling for the downfall of the country. It's not the men, it's the women. They're the problem. They're the ones who want to have sex with other women. They want to push pride parades in Tehran. They are the ones who don't want to have kids anymore. They don't want to be wives. They think that this is freedom. That's what they think because they don't know any better, and they've been propagandized by the West, the failing West. These are the women that I'm referring to when I say, hey, if you're going to save your country, you have to find these people like her. What is she so excited about? What is she thinking is going to happen now that Ayatollah Khamenei is dead? Well, she's hoping in the next 30 days she can get on OnlyFans and spread it open. She's hoping in the next 30 days they'll have their first pride parade and she can go out with another woman and kiss her and be naked walking down the streets of Tehran. That's all she's hoping. And in exchange, if you give her the ability to sexualize herself, she'll burn their entire republic. The cradle of civilization, she'll burn it all to the ground. It won't feel one way about it. These are the women I'm referring to that are in Iran that are an issue. This is what the women of Iran want for themselves.
It's giving bow speech. It's giving bow speech. It's giving baby.
And these are all women. There's no children. There's no husband. There is nobody coming to marry them. These women have sexualized themselves and then they age out of the market. The men are going to other countries to find wives. We can't find them here. But this is what the women in Iran believe is freedom. Making videos, sexualizing themselves on the internet without being arrested or getting 100 lashes or put to death. The men have been protecting the women from themselves in the Islamic world for generations. And now these women are looking to break out of that because they want to destroy themselves. If a woman tells me, Rico, I want to have the freedom to kill myself, does that mean, I'm a believer in freedom, but at what point will we just admit that, okay, some people are using freedom they're abusing freedom. Freedom can be abused, or you're manipulating us by just using the word freedom. You have no good intentions. That's the example of what I mean when I'm saying all of this. Yeah, they're wicked. Absolutely, they're wicked. Islam is not the problem. Islam, in my discernment, is the solution to feminism. Islam is the solution to the LGBTQP pedophile Epstein agenda. Islam is.
We're not
going
to sit here and go through all the videos because wow.
Yeah, Islam is the solution to the Epstein agenda, to the trans agenda, to the gay agenda, to the feminist agenda. Islam is the solution. I haven't seen another one in the West that has been able to counter any of those. The only time I've ever seen those agendas stopped is when they came up against Islam. If you have another suggestion on how to stop those movements, I'm all ears.
Wow, just wow. This is inside of the heart of Tehran today. Netanyahu called on Iranians to flood the streets and overthrow the Islamic Republic. Instead, something else happened. Iranians did flood to the streets. They did do that. But to mourn the martyrdom of Ayatollah Khamenei and express their willingness to defend the sovereignty.
Absolutely. Choose Jesus. Christ is king. Christ is king.
Of Iran. And to tell the Iranian government that they will not back down. They will not accept anyone backing down. That is not going to happen.
And thank you all for tuning in. We're at 2.5 hours now of going over the destruction that's happening against our American installations in the Middle East. that are not being underreported, that are being underreported, if not reported upon at all. It's the middle of the night over there. No one's talking about how there are thousands of people in Iraq that are on foot attacking the green zone, hoping to break into the largest American military base outside of the United States. No one's talking about how it's being bombed by Iran right now and all the other bases in the surrounding countries. As of 30 minutes ago, Iran has officially attacked 15 other countries in retaliation to the American strikes that have assassinated Ayatollah Khamenei and as well Ahmadinejad, the former prime minister, I believe, of Iran. I believe he was a prime minister. And these are brilliant men who were not calling for violence against anyone. They were just trying to maintain their way of life, which should be allowed, which they shouldn't actually, it shouldn't have to be allowed. It's not something that should be up for other countries to decide whether they can live their own lifestyle if they want to or not. Therefore, all this is happening as a result, and this is the fallout where we're reporting on it because no one else will. This is Jackson Hinkle. I'm RICO LIMBAUGH. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, push me into the algorithm. I really do appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate all the comments. I'm trying to read them all. Thank you for the super chats. I'm going to read those. Thank you for the Cash App. Like I said, we're doing these shows for free. Any donations help us push the movement. This is us doing new media. We're media entities. We're independent and we're consistent. So we are going to be here whether we lose our sponsors or not, because we don't have sponsors. We're independent. So that means we can talk about whatever the hell we want to. There's nobody that can pull the plug. I'm not going to get a call from my editor in an hour that's going to say, hey, you can't talk about this. There's no one. It's just me and you. So I'm grassroots. I appreciate you guys' support. This is Jackson Hinkle. So thank you guys for being here.
Massive crowds of Iranians mourning the martyrdom of Ayatollah Khamenei all across the country. All across the country. All across the country. In Iran's Mazandaran, streets are being flooded across Tehran, calling for revenge. Isfahan as well, flooded with millions of people. Massive waves of people taken to the streets in southern Iran as well. And in Karachi, is that how you say Karachi or is it Karachi? Karachi, I think. The U.S. consulate in Karachi is under attack. Okay? This was a major, major development.
This was the video I just did about 2 hours ago. I showed the aftermath. It's a fuck around and find out situation. You don't show up with sticks to a gunfight. There was only one man with a gun, and everybody else was just basically rushing the consulate in Pakistan. And the American soldiers in there killed, and the rest were running away. They injured way more than just that, but they opened fire on all of them because they were invading. You don't show up dressed like Aladdin expecting to be able to fight men dressed like the Master Chief from Halo. They were not prepared for what they were looking for. Look at this guy right here. He's dressed like he's going to a dinner party in Bollywood, not like he's going to storm an American embassy with armed Americans. Basically, these people in Pakistan were being trained by the same people who were training Renee Good and Petty back in Minnesota. So it seems like the Somali scammers were over here in Pakistan training the same and using the same methods that they were training people in Minnesota. It has to be I'm blaming the Somali scammers. That's all I'm just gonna blame them.
Okay. Obviously, several U.S. embassies were under attack today.
I'm a fool. You know what? I've been called worse, so I will own that. I'll be a fool today.
Rocky, thousands of women took to the streets to protest the American-Israeli attacks on Iran. At least 32 Pakistani civilians were shot, some as young as 15 and 9 years old, shot to death during the...
Yeah, you shouldn't be 15 and 9 years old in a gunfight. You should be at home or playing with Play-Doh or, I don't know, counting rocks, sewing sandals, whatever they do in these other countries. They should have been doing that. They had no business bum rushing an American embassy in Karachi. Like, you're definitely putting yourself in a man's place. Stay in your place. As a child, stay in a child's place. There's no reason a 15 and a 9-year-old should have been storming an American embassy, knowing that there are Americans in there. We're a different breed. We do violence for fun. That's how much of a different breed we are in America. We have blood sports where we literally beat each other to death for entertainment. Other countries don't do that. That's how much we are into violence. Why you would think that any threshold of less of violence less than that was going to be tolerated? It's just a complete I guess you're just misunderstanding what it means for us to be Americans. So that's not on the military, that's not on the consulate, that's on the parents of these kids and the people who were storming the embassy. That was a complete miscalculation, and they fucked around and they found out the hard way that you should not attack Americans. It's just not a really good idea.
Storming of the U.S. consulate in Karachi today. You can see more photos here. They are avenging the martyrdom of Ayatollah Khamenei, primarily young men.
Let's see here. Claudette Oliver, you are talking to fulfill an agenda. You're absolutely not a reporter. You have no reporter skills. You have no sources or investigation skills. You're another YouTuber. Yes, but I am literally playing videos, which is my evidence, and I'm just reporting on what's happening. There's no such thing as reporter skills. There's no classes you need to take to be an official reporter. There's no degree in reporting. I think there's courses in journalism, but I'm not a journalist. I'm not journaling anything. I'm just giving my opinion and reacting. I'm an American. I can give my opinion and react to whatever the fuck I want to do. You are in no position to tell me what not to do. I don't have to live by your standards. Some people are so egotistical, they think they're more important than they are. It seems like not only do you have TDS, but you have a level of main character syndrome as well. But in this story, I'm the main character. So you're on the wrong side of the fence here. I will talk about whatever I want to. This affects me and my daily life. Now, I can do what everybody else does, bury my head in the sand and just cross my fingers and go on with my life. But that's how one day I wake up and I'm walking into Whole Foods and they're telling me only one person at a time can be allowed into the store because of something called the coronavirus. March 15th of 2020. And the next day we went into a lockdown and I wasn't prepared because I wasn't paying attention. I promised I would never be in that position again. So now I pay attention to everything to the point where I'm actually giving updates and talking to the public about it so that we can all be prepared together. People like you who are ignorant of reality eventually affect my bottom line, which is why even if I don't like you, I have to talk to you as well. So here I am. I hope that cleans up for you. Nobody's opinion is facts, and there is not a degree. There's no degree in reporting. I don't know. Let me see here. Let me ask Arthur. Hey, Arthur, quick question. Is there a degree that one person can get in reporting? So like you can get hired as a reporter for like a newspaper. What degree do you have to get to become a reporter? Like if I want to sit here and talk to people on the internet about the news, what type of degree is required for me to get on here and talk to people?
To become a reporter, especially at a traditional news outlet, many professionals have a degree in journalism or communications. However, other fields like political science, English, or broadcast media are also common pathways. That said, for talking to people on the internet, like creating independent content or social media reporting, there's no formal degree required. Credibility comes from your expertise, communication skills, and building trust with your audience. So while a degree helps in traditional settings, it's not mandatory for online discourse.
Thank you very much, Arthur. So basically, my AI told me to tell you, Claudette, to go fuck yourself. There is no degree required for what I'm doing. And I can sit here and talk to whoever I want to until I'm blue in the face, and you have zero control or say so over that. My audience appreciates what I'm saying. You are currently a part of my audience, win, lose, or draw. And since you want to talk about reporting, there is a phrase that comes in mind right now, which is all press is good press. So whether you're here because you like me or because you don't like me, you're still here. And all press is good press. So I appreciate you being here nonetheless. Yes, your opinion. Everything's everybody's opinion. This is you giving me your opinion, Claudette. What you're doing is having what we call a circular argument. So what I would suggest is you argue with yourself. Just assume what I'm going to say and pretend it's coming from me. And you can just continue to have these arguments the same place you have your love life and your relationships, which is just in your mind. You don't have to share them with me. I don't have to be involved.
Storming the U.S. Embassy in Karachi.
America is great. It just depends on what part of America you live in now. If you're in California and with all the CDL licenses that have been revoked, and now they're offering American truck drivers triple to get back on the road, American truck drivers that were originally out of work. If you're in California also, and the gang violence has went down by 60% because of all the deportations. Also, the housing bubble has went away. So rents are falling because of deportation. If you're in one of the big cities that all the illegals were occupying, then America is officially great again as of about 2 months ago, according to the numbers. So the answer is yes. Now, what we're doing as far as these foreign wars are problematic, but I can't really be too mad at Trump because the rents are still going down. And that is my priority, is what's happening here in America. I'm an America first, America only person. So I'm necessarily worried about America, although I'm reporting on geopolitics and what's happening in other parts of the world. As far as America is concerned, we're still doing good financially, thanks to Trump, ICE, and deportations. So the answer to your question, the short answer is yes. Save man, woman. Could you be more specific? Remember when Trump said, if you join the military, you're a fool. Yeah, I mean, he's still correct. People join the military regardless. Nobody listened to Trump. So what is, no. This is tea from Starbucks. There's no sugar. I just explained how America was great. Jerry, are you going to join the military? No. I do more. I'm more productive for the America First agenda by sitting here and having these long form conversations with adversaries to the country. You are adversarial to the country. For me to have these public conversations with anti-American terrorists, domestic terrorists, Marxists, and communists, I'm actually more effective here than I am in a uniform. So that's why I'm better off having these conversations. This man is not delusional. He has just went to the grocery store. Yeah, I just went to the grocery store. I just bought a crock pot. So I put pasta, chicken, shrimp, tons of vegetables, and went and got a Starbucks tea. So I just went to the grocery store. So that's a very good point. How'd you know I went to the grocery store? That's crazy. Are you watching me, Claudette? You know what? You are watching me. You're watching me on the internet. So hello, Claudette. Good to talk to you. Yeah, but you're two chickens to join the military. Why, Jerry, are you in the military? Why don't you join the military? How are you going to ask me to do something that you won't do yourself? What's stopping you from signing up? Why aren't you? Matter of fact, you don't even need to join the military. You can fly to another country and fight Trump. If you hate Trump so much, why don't you fly to one of these countries where the American military where we're fighting? And why don't you join the other side and fight against Trump? Why are you wasting your time talking to me? Are you a MAGA Republican? I'm not a Republican, but I am MAGA. I'm America first and America only. I think Republicans are spineless, weak, pathetic, basically just speed bumps for the Democrat homosexual agenda. I don't really see them having any power at all. Republicans, but the MAGA group, the America First movement, we're different. So that's why we're even though we might seem like we're on the right, we're not aligned with the Republicans. They are ridiculous. And no, I wouldn't say I'm independent. We're something else. We're something different. We're a hybrid. And we are this whole binary thing in American politics. You're the Republican or Democrat. Obviously, it's a uniparty, so it's never been a thing, and we're not going to pretend that it is anymore. We're something else. We're a hybrid. We're something better. So that's why I have a following. That's why people are following my channel. That's why people are tuning in and watching my videos. I do a lot of content every day. So subscribe and you'll get updates of when I do videos. And you can let me know if what I'm saying resonates with you. And if it does, hopefully you'll share my videos. I'm not charging anything. You can watch all this stuff for free on YouTube, but I'm also on Twitch, Kick, X, Facebook. You know, I'm simultaneously broadcasting on 8 different platforms. That's why you guys can't even see each other's comments, but I'm trying to respond to as many as I can.
Also in Indian occupied territory.
No, I'm not would you say foundational black? What the fuck is a black? No, I'm not a black. I have no idea who. I don't know what you did for you to call yourself a color instead of to have a nationality or an ethnicity. That's a low IQ situation. You're not even recognized as a human if you're only a color. That's ridiculous. Hopefully you guys can fix your nomenclature situation. But I think that's where you're having a really big problem.
We have Shia mourning the martyrdom of Ayatollah Khamenei by the tens of thousands at the very least, probably hundreds of thousands. People in Indian-controlled Kashmir rose up and broke through police barricades while carrying portraits of Khamenei. Iraqis also took to the streets in the millions following the martyrdom of Ayatollah Khamenei.
Claudette, you would make 11. Actually, the funny part is this: go when you leave after my broadcast is over, because I have other topics I'm going over today, so I'm gonna try to end this one soon. Just come back and look at the analytics. And then you're going to eat shit. And you're going to be an embarrassment to yourself. I'm not going to even tell you how many. I don't need to. I'm going to let you eat shit and have, what do they say? What is it? Egg on your face. I'm going to let you put egg on your face, and you just basically embarrass yourself, which is hilarious, but keep it up. It's beautiful to see. And I thank you. I love being underestimated. Thank you.
Seen some photos from above. The photos are insane. Hundreds of Iraqis are continuing to attempt to storm the perimeter of the U.S. Embassy. Very dangerous scene. We covered that a little bit in our previous story in Baghdad. To protest against the assassination of Imam Sayyid Ali Khamenei.
Sure, Sarge. If you have other questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Yeah, I'm pretty relaxed. It's a nice Sunday, and we're having these important conversations. Some people are going to be overly emotional about them. I don't really have any feelings either way. I'm just going based off of logic. I'm giving my opinion and my assessment. Some people care to hear it. Some people don't. So if you're here, you're going to hear it. And if you have a rebuttal, you're all ears. I'll even bring you on the stage if you aren't shy and you want to talk. You're more than welcome to join the conversation.
Clashing with security forces intensifies.
Thank you, Mrs. No Degree in responding to YouTube videos. I mean, is there a degree for that? I mean, I guess, but you can't degree shame me. Degrees are not necessary for anything in the world. Most of you people with degrees can't afford to pay them. You can't afford to pay your student loans for those degrees. So what does that make you? So yeah, I'm glad I don't have any of those degrees.
Clashes are intensifying near the embassy in Baghdad. Okay, and here's what
Appreciate it, Sarge. Thanks for all the support, and I hope you subscribe to the channel and tune in. A lot of you guys on YouTube, there's 2 YouTube channels. I'm not sure which one you guys are following, so follow both. I'm actually RICO LIMBAUGH. So there's a single boyfriend, there's WING RICO, so there's 2 different ones. But because I'm on StreamYard, I'm able to see all the comments. So, but you guys aren't able to see each other, and you guys aren't able to see the other people on other platforms. So I appreciate you being here and talking to me. I do appreciate the interactions. This should be something that's important to all of us, because if it spreads, it's going to affect us. The economy's been recovering. Prices have been going down, but if fuel prices go up due to oil insecurity around the world, then that's going to bring back the inflation that we're barely getting from under. So we do want to, and then also hopefully Iran doesn't hit, another big a city. We don't want them to hit London. We don't want them to hit, Paris, or we don't want them to hit Hungary. We don't want them to hit anywhere else that's unnecessary or that might drag us into a larger conflict. Trump made a mistake. He's trying to get from underneath it. I'm not sure what his angle is right now, but hopefully he can get us out of this as fast as he got us into this, and hopefully he cuts off this situation with Netanyahu. Netanyahu is supposed to go to prison for corruption, and he's trying to do anything he can to keep himself out of jail. So we have to ignore Netanyahu and stay on the course. No hate in my blood, only curious, peace and love. Thank you, Sarge. And yeah, no worries. I appreciate you being here. And again, anytime you guys, I'll give you the link. You can come on stage and we can just, I mean, we're Americans. I would assume you're an American. We can sit here and have talks to each other. We speak the same type of English, and we can have discussions. You know, these are things that should matter to all of us, not just me. And I prefer to talk with people, not necessarily at you. So again, it's a show, but it's interactive, you know? So I would appreciate you guys. If you ever do want to come up or have a conversation, just ask for the link and I'll bring you guys up and we can talk in front of everybody. I have nothing to hide. So we can have these conversations. They're important. Again, there's unnecessary loss of life now, and it's going to be American lives. And they're going to eventually start telling us how many people died on these bases and these attacks. It's nighttime now, but tomorrow morning when we wake up, they're going to be telling us about the casualties and how many people died in these bases that were attacked overnight. None of it's worth it, in my opinion, because we gained nothing from it. Women in Iran want to do OnlyFans. They want to do prostitution. They want to stop being mothers and they want to stop being wives. So we're risking a war and we're dying so that women can go do more sex stuff. Like, what the fuck is this all about? It's only women in Iraq and Iran that are celebrating this. That's all they've wanted. And they're willing to burn down their entire society. So what? They can get ran through by a bunch of passport bros when Iran is destroyed and we start flying over there because all the men decided to die fighting some pointless war so their women can be left alone. Like the women in Ukraine, all the men are dead. So now all their women are just doing sex work all over Europe. Like that's what the Iranian women are begging for. That's why they're celebrating Khamenei, the Ayatollah, dying so that they can get out there and prostitute themselves and do only. That's all you guys wanted. What did you win? What else did you gain? Because Khamenei died. What are you gaining? Oh, I want to be able to get on the internet and get naked. If I do that now, I get lashes. I get beat in the street if I get naked. It's like, you want to be naked that bad? You want to be gay that bad? You want to go hump on other women, but that's illegal in your country. So you're so upset, you'll let them burn down one of the oldest societies in modern day civilization. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. And as Americans, we should not be supporting this at all. It's like people keep saying, yeah, well, we have to go into Iran. I'm asking people, what's the upside for us? Okay, tell me what the upside is for the Iranian people. Why is it only Iranian women that are celebrating this? There's a woman in Australia who's of Iranian descent, and she just cursed out the dead Ayatollah on Sky 9 News. On Sky News in Australia. It's all women. Because why? They want to have sexual liberation. They think that watching American women walking up and down blades, being prostitutes, is liberation. American women being able to do porn like Mia Khalifa, they think that's liberation. No longer having a husband, no longer having children, being able to have sex with women. They consider all that liberating, and they see that as being the purpose of life. They don't want to be mothers. They don't want to be wives. Anything besides complete sexual liberation is slavery in their opinion. So that's the only benefit they're seeing from the Ayatollah being dead. So they thought. Was it worth it? So that we can open up a branch for OnlyFans in Iran. Not saying that I won't watch it because it might be interesting, but I would feel bad about it. But I would I'm a journalist. Obviously, I would have to report on it. So I would have to. I don't know what the currency exchange is. It'd be a little complicated at first, but that's all they want. I remember in America, when it happened, women wanted sexual liberation, and the same women who were begging for sexual liberation are now in their 30s and 40s, and they're begging to reverse it, but no men are going to want to come along and marry them at their old age after having all those sexual partners and all that history. No man's going to come along and now save you. They do have kids that were mistakes. And they were a mistake because the man that never gave her a second kid. So obviously that was an accident. When a man really loves you and he wanted to have kids with you, he builds a family with you. That means your children have siblings from the same parent. So you're not seeing that happen anymore because our society is breaking down. And they're begging to have that same outcome in Iran. And that just shows you how powerful the gay and anti-family propaganda in the West is. It destroyed our personal lives here in the U.S., and it's spreading to other parts of the world. It's a shame.
Looks like on the scene right now. Baghdad.
Wait, you said 100 USD would get you 200 million in Iran? So how many? Okay, so how many Iranian women content creators or OnlyFans would you get? How many subscriptions did that turn into? Because I'm wondering, like, is she just gonna wear the head turban and then everything else is just a free for all? I'm just wondering because that's all they're begging for. They just want to get naked. They just want to be able to degrade themselves. They don't want to be mothers. They don't want to be wives anymore. They just want to be freaks, which is fine. But okay, that's okay. But is that worth dying for? Like, how bad do we need more OnlyFans content creators? Is there like a shortage? Last time I checked, there wasn't. But I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. Remember when Biden called black people super predators? Yes, I do. And Biden was correct. They are. And Biden didn't write that statistic. The FBI did. The FBI data proves that they are super predators. They're monsters. They are literally killing. Think about it. A monster black person walked into a bar that I go to in Austin, Texas yesterday, and he killed a bunch of white young people. He killed specifically white people in a bar with a machine gun last night at what's it called? Buford's. I go there on 6th Street. It's actually right across from Pop and Play because even though I live in Houston, I work in Austin, so I go back and forth. A super predator, a black army operative committed another hate crime against white people. They are killing white people on buses. They're killing white people on trains. They're killing white people any and every chance they get. Primarily, they target white women and children because they are chicken shit and they're scared to death of white men. So that's what makes them a black army super predator or a terrorist, domestic. Instead of moving to another country and no longer speaking English and just getting away from white people and staying alive, they'd prefer to die killing white people because they're heavily rewarded. Just like Carmelo Anthony, when he stabbed Austin Metcalf, they gave his family $500,000 because they like to hear about blacks killing whites because it's just something that the super predators have in them. So Biden wasn't wrong about that, in my opinion. Damn, based. Yeah, no, I'm just I'm pretty sure everybody can come to that same conclusion. They're just not gonna say it. I don't mind talking to you. In my opinion, it's just me and you sitting here at a bar having a conversation. I mean, I'm sitting here talking to a camera with a light in my face as I drink my Starbucks, but as far as I'm concerned, me and you were just sitting down having a candid conversation. I don't think people should edit their thoughts and opinions based on consequences from people who want to restrict their speech. That would go against the Constitution. See, the First Amendment was meant to protect speech like mine, not the speech that everybody wants to hear. Oh, you're a victim. Oh, you're black, so you're oppressed. Oh, you're so sad. Oh, you're so pathetic. Oh, I'm just like you. I can't read. I can't count. I'm a worthless idiot piece of shit. Even though you get an 890 on your SATs for spelling your name right, obviously I couldn't get a 960. So obviously I'm just like you. So I have to talk in a third grade, fourth grade level for you to understand ape. Yeah, so that's the speech people want to hear. My speech, the things that I'm saying, is the speech that needs protecting because it's unpopular speech. Popular speech doesn't need protecting because people like it. It's the difficult conversations and the speech that's not so friendly, not so happy. That's the speech that needs protecting. So this is the part where the Constitution comes in. So this is, that's why I have these conversations. Tragic, but not me, and I won't say it. No, I agree. It's not for everybody. I don't think non-whites are monsters simply because they killed I have no idea what any of that. I don't know what non-melanin means and non-whites. I don't live in a binary world. Last time I checked, there's not just blacks and whites in the entire world. You have to. It's a lot, because what about the rest of us? I'm not black or white, but people are pretending it's a binary thing. So you're either black, so you're either white or non-white. Like that isn't, you're limiting the scope. There's way more. And also the whole color thing doesn't apply anymore. That stuff's out the window. You have people from 190 plus different countries, all living in the United States, separate languages, backgrounds, ethnicity. Some people are darker than others, but they are from India. They're from Sri Lanka. They're not all from Africa. So it's you got to get out of the binary situation. It's more than just non-whites and whites. Like that's extremely limiting. That's like a cartoon or something. That's not reality. It's not in real life, But people that are going around killing people, and there's a pattern of it to the point where 9% of the population, it's no longer 13%. It's like about 8 to 9% they're responsible for 60% plus of the violent crime. Yeah, that does indicate you're from a demographic of monsters. That's what that means, technically. But anyway, let's get back to what Jackson has to say.
Trump, what did you expect was going to happen? What did you expect was going to happen?
Now, the problem is we can't put everything on Trump. He has advisors. There's other people around him, but they all can't be yes people. Somebody has to tell Trump no. Somebody has to stop him. I'll be back on with another topic in about 20 minutes. I'm going to go get some water. I'm going to get everything ready for the next live. So I want you guys all to stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, hit that buzzer, that bell, so that way you get an alert when I get back on shortly. I'm going to go get water. I'm going to eat some noodles, and then I'm going to come back on. We're going to have another topic, but we're going to dive back into the war in the Middle East right now. We're going to bring some more opinions. We're going to have another creator. I think I have a guest coming on, but we'll see. So I'll see you guys again shortly. I appreciate you all for being here. The connection is chopped. I'm sorry about that. Let me see here. Hopefully it gets better. But anyway, I'll be back on live with another topic shortly. So remember, it's America first and America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.